Hello, and welcome to episode 49 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Darren Whittam, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod. With consoles in his living room and a Vita in his clothes, he shall have gaming wherever he goes. It's Anthony Chesson.
Well, you're very songful today, sir.
Full of the free spirit of birds, sing-song and sunshine.
Full of the joys of this summer that we are having in the UK.
Yeah, we've had a second day of summer. It's quite good.
It is. It was like we had some rain, but now we have sunshine. It's quite nice.
That'll be it, though.
Yeah.
You've had your week.
How's your week been?
Not bad. Did you realise, roundabout to this episode, is our 1 year anniversary of the pod?
What have you got me? It's paper. Is it 1 year paper? Yeah, 1 year's paper, isn't it? Paper anniversary.
Our paper anniversary. How sweet.
How sweet. Happy anniversary to you, sir.
Happy anniversary.
So we're 1 year old then.
We are, yeah. Our first podcast went out last year, 2015, on the 15th of May.
Right.
So we're recording now on the 12th of May. So I had a little think about it. And what can I tell you about it? Well, 1 year of the pod. 49 episodes. So we missed 3 in a year.
Right.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
And that's pretty committed. And I worked out that, say, if we did an average of 2.5 hours for each pod, that meant on 49 episodes we had recorded 122.5 hours.
Wow.
Which equates to 5.1 days of us chatting about games.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
So someone could listen to us back to back for 5 days just talking about games.
Yeah, you could press play and then listen to us non-stop, talking about games for 5 days.
Wow, that's awesome.
Without a break.
Wow. Without a break or a flummox or anything. It's just so cool. I like that. I like that stat.
That's an achievement, isn't it? And listeners all know, I mean, think of the record for us when we're older. Maybe when I'm really old, I might just put it on, do a marathon of listening to our pod. Well, I don't know. If the podcast lasts for years, well, I mean, another year would be another 5 days, wouldn't it?
It would indeed. It would get to a month.
Whoa, it could get to a year, couldn't it?
Yes, indeed. Well, that's really cool. Yeah. That's really good. So we did 49 episodes, one E3 special. We've got another one coming up soon. Wow.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been fun. I had a look back at our website, really, because every pod's on it, because we haven't archived any.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just looking through some of as I went back and back, I was like, wow, I'd sort of forgotten about this and forgotten about that. It reminded me of us talking about getting 3D models made of ourselves.
Yes.
That was a really early memory, and I'd forgotten about that. And just some of the lead artwork that we used. I was like, oh, yeah. And I remember everyone's gone to the Rapture. I remember leading with The Witcher 3 and how hyped we were for it. And just, it was a nice little wander down memory lane.
Absolutely, that's so cool. And then, so our first episode, that was the amiibo robbery, wasn't it?
No, our first episode was simply called First One in the Can.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, but then the amiibo one might have been number 2.
No, I'm scrolling. I'm just gone to the website. Yep, the First One in the Can, you're right. Then we had one about Witcher, because it was all about The Witcher at that point. Yeah. So back in May 22nd, my sister's birthday, back in May 22nd, we were wild about The Witcher, and then we went on to the amiibo robbery that they had in the UK.
Wow. So, 1 year young.
Wow, that's just very cool.
Yeah.
1 year young, and we will continue this awesomeness that is the Lost Spark podcast.
We will, this awesome journey through gaming of the future yesteryear. Being sort of deconstructed and reconstructed by us too. Yeah.
I did like that. I think when we did our first E3 extravaganza, we went a bit long on that one, didn't we? But that's just kind of a standard episode when James is on now, isn't it? So, and I think before we did E3, we did a bonus episode, which was our predictions podcast. And I think that was kind of one of the real fun ones. I think that whole kind of build up to our first E3 and podding about E3, I think that was kind of some of the highlights, really.
Yeah, that was really cool. And you're right, that E3 one, it was like, whoa, I can't believe we've just talked about games for 3.5 hours or whatever it was. And we've hit that. We've hit that just on a standard podcast, if there's been enough to talk about. Yeah, because I wouldn't like to think that we just sort of pad it. It's all content, isn't it, here with the Sparks?
Absolutely. There's no padding in the Lost Spark podcast.
So there you go, yeah. Apart from that, with my week, I haven't done much really, but I did have a think about something that I read about where people can get motion sickness in VR. I'm sure you've heard about that. And lots of people say that you can cure it by building up a tolerance or a resistance by essentially just doing it, going in VR, triggering off the sickness, and then as soon as you get it, walking away, stopping playing, give it a few days, try again, and you can get rid of it that way. Okay. Now, I think motion sickness and travel sickness are quite closely linked.
Right.
So I was just wondering, because like Claire gets really bad travel sickness, she gets motion sickness as well. I put her on a game where it was like a seated experience where you fly along. She said that she's never felt the sickness come on that quick in anything in her life. It was like instant. And I thought that if I could cure her of one, it'd cure the other. So I'm wondering if VR could cure travel sickness for people that get travel sick, but they'd have to sort of put themselves in there and make themselves feel nauseous and then come out and then do it again and again. I just thought it was an interesting thing. Have you read anything about that?
No, but I think it's really interesting. You're right. It could help, couldn't it? Could help kind of get you attuned to that. And on a regular basis. Yeah.
And then you could travel around and not be sick, which I'm sure loads of people would really like. So I'm going to mention it to Claire and see if she's up for sort of going through the procedure of trying
being your guinea pig.
Yeah.
Is what.
And then after that amazingly scientific test that I carry out, I mean, surely people have tested it. It's like you could cure people of travel sickness
That's so
using
cool.
regular appointments with VR. A bit like maybe visiting a chiropractor or something, wouldn't it? Like once a week, you go in, you do your VR experience, whatever it's going to be, and each week you're able to conquer it for a bit longer, and all of a sudden it doesn't affect you anymore, and then you can go on a long drive in the back seat or whatever, and you're fine.
Wow, that's really cool.
Revolutionary. Yeah, what about you? What have you done this week?
Not much really. I've been busy kind of working. I've been playing Uncharted 4, which we'll get to in just a way.
What's that?
It's a video game. I'll tell you about it. And so I've been playing that. I've been playing a lot of that, kind of working quite hard. I got a new gadget. I did get a new gadget at the weekend. A friend of mine that kind of listened to the show, my mate Kenny, he expertly demoed his universal remote control. So we had FaceTime. Kenny was showing me kind of all the different features and functions, and I was just like blown away by this universal remote. It's a Logitech Harmony Elite. I'll put a link to it in the show. And it's an absolute one-stop shop, just gorgeousness of a remote control. And I never thought I would say that a remote control was exciting, but this one's really cool. It's got an app that you can have on your iPad, Android, iPhone that you program, and you just basically just kind of turn it on. It figures out what you have in your house because everything's connected to your Wi-Fi. So it's like, oh, you've got this AV monitor, you got this TV, you got Sky Q, blah blah blah, and then it just helps you kind of put together what they call activities. So I've got an activity where I press one button and it turns on my TV, turns on Sky Q, it turns on the AV, sets it to the Sky Q channel, and it's just, and then I've also got a movie activity where I press the movie activity. This is where it gets sexy. I press the movie activity, and it turns off Sky Q if that's on. My TV will be on, turns on my TV, turns on the AV, puts that to TV, turns on my new kind of HD Blu-ray player, and then it puts the hue lights into movie mode. So suddenly you've just it's like everything's come on, the lights have gone into movie mode, which is a real kind of low level light, and and if I can convince the wife, I'll get a blind that will then kind of a blackout blind that will then shut at the same time.
Wow.
But it's really good.
I like it. What I would ask though, right, so you say it turns off Sky Q if it's on.
Yes.
Does that mean if it's off it would turn it on?
Yes.
No,
sorry, no, it doesn't. It knows whether it's on or off.
Oh.
So if it's on, it turns it off. If it's off, it doesn't turn it on.
And the same with your TV, so it wouldn't turn it if your macro is to turn it on if it's off. If you did that macro that included the TV turning it on if it's off, but the TV was already on, would it turn it off?
That's right. Yeah, it doesn't kind of, it's not just like sending a kind of on or off signal. I think it must know or detect.
So there's a specific one for on and there's a specific one for off. Oh, that's brilliant. So
that's really cool.
On the Xbox, mine Xbox on, when I had it all sort of set up like that, if my projector was on, there was no way for me to do it. It might have been the age of the projector actually, but it was just an on off. So if I went onto my Xbox after the PS4 and the projector was already on, for instance, and I said Xbox on, it turned the projector off, which is worse than a TV because you've got to wait a few minutes before you can turn it back on again.
Of course, yeah, because it's going to wind down, isn't it, with the fan? And then you're like, no, not again.
Massive pain.
But this Logitech Elite Harmony Elite is just, the touchscreen's really nice. With Sky Q, you can then say once Sky Q is on, it then you can select favourites from all of the Sky channels, and it has their little logo. So it has like a little Apple TV logo. I can click on that, change the settings. The great thing about it is with my HDR Blu-ray player, it actually uses a different HDMI because I'm going direct from that Blu-ray player to the TV, just so I know that I'm getting full HDR, etc., etc. And so it also turns it from HDMI 4 to HDMI 3 and does all of that all kind of one touch. So Nicola's loving it. She thinks it's fantastic, so which is really good. It's always good to get the wife seal of approval on gadgets, because most of the time she just rolls her eyes at me. But it even connects to the Nest thermostat that I've got in the house, so we can kind of, you could even say when you're watching a movie, set the temperature to like 23 degrees or something like that.
Oh, I love it.
You could go bonkers with it if you want. It's supposed to connect to the PS4, but I can't do that at the moment. I can't get it to connect to the PS4 at the moment, but I'm going to have a bit more of a play at the weekend.
What kind of steps is it to program a macro that does a number of steps? Is it quite complex or is it quite easy?
No, it's really easy. You just say, right, I want to do something with my TV. I want to put my TV into Netflix. So you say something with my TV. Because you've selected the TV, it just gives you a whole load of options, like what do you want to do with it. One of the things that I did do, Kenny and I kind of did together, we got quite nerdy when he was doing the demo, is in Sky Q, to get to your planner, it's actually 6 button clicks to get to your planner, where normally on Sky it's like 1 button click, but with Sky Q it's six clicks to get to the HD planner. And what we actually did was there's a guide button on the remote control, and we programmed that to go, menu, Sky up, Sky up, Sky up. So when you click it just kind of, this little macro starts, and you just see you kind of going up the menu system and then into the menu system, and it works really well. And that, I think, was the thing that really sold Nicola on it.
Brilliant. How much is it?
It's a little bit. It is at a premium price.
I'm going to guess £100.
A little bit more. It was $250.
What?
Actually, I'm going to make sure that Nicola doesn't listen to the podcast this week.
£250, flipping heck.
Yes, but worth every penny.
I think the one that I used to love was an all-in-one one, and it was either called, I don't think it was called Harmony, I think it was called Chameleon, I can't remember, it had a fancy name. I think that was £100, and I really loved it, and it had, this is years and years ago, so it had these really bright sort of colourful buttons on it.
Right.
But I presume this is like a touch screen then, is it, with all full colour and graphics and stuff?
Absolutely, it really is, yes.
Wow, it sounds brilliant, man, and, for the convenience, it may be worth it, because it's. Yeah. I've had a sticky remote. My amp control, the remote control, all the buttons work perfectly, except for the volume up and down.
Oh no!
And it's been like it since I got it. But I loved the amp so dearly, I didn't want to return it to get a new one. When I got it, I was just like, "Oh, I'll put up with it. It won't matter." For years, I persevered, and it's like you sit there and you're just pressing as hard as you can for going mad, going up or down. And so I can appreciate that it would be lovely to not only have that working, but to be able to macro things together. I really like that. And then if you said it hooks in with your mood lighting as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, it hooks into the Philips Hue, so there's a little light button in it on the controller, and all you need to do is you just kind of click the light, and then the lights turn on. So you can also say, I want you to come into TV. I've set things like TV mode, dinner, movie mode, and you can just kind of get it to come onto one of those, or I can just turn on my lights, then I can dim my lights up and down as well, just by kind of at the remote control. So which I have an app on my phone that does that, but you can also just do it from the remote control, because trying to sell that to Nicola was always kind of a bit of a hard one, because she was always like, I don't want to fire up my phone just to turn the lights on. But now it's on a control. It's on the TV remote. So it's a much easier sell now.
Wow, that sounds pretty good. So are you decided on getting one yet, or are you just thinking, or do you just like it?
No, that's it. I got it.
Oh, wow, you got it.
No, yeah, I got it. That's what I've been doing. I've been playing with this. So Kenny gave me a demo, and then I just pulled the trigger straight after the demo, and then it arrived on Saturday, and I was playing with it on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, wow. Congratulations on a fine piece of tech. It's always a great moment.
It is honestly. It just feels nice. There's a little kind of docking station which charges it. There's a little hub, and then you just have like an IR blaster that you just kind of comes out the back, and it just sits in my AV cabinet, bouncing off the doors, and it just controls everything. It's really lovely.
Wow, sounds great. I like it.
So I'll put a link in the show notes if anyone wants to see this gorgeous piece of tech that kind of. Like Kenny kind of just, like I say, he gave me this demo, and after the demo I was like, I can't not, because he just demoed so well, and this is just such a sexy piece of kit.
Brilliant.
Superb. So what have you been playing this week, sir?
Me, I've been playing not a great selection of games, but I've been playing good games. Elite Dangerous, I've been playing more of that. So I think I got that last week. Last podcast was the first time I got an opportunity to speak about that after playing it, and yeah, it's really good. I mean, last week I was really happy with it, and I didn't know how to do anything in there, so I spent a little bit more time learning the controls, and I've managed to scratch a microbe off the surface of the game by sort of launching, docking at some space stations, taking up some missions. And yeah, it's a great game. Apparently, it's not running as well as it should do on the Vive, so there's some optimization that's required, and Frontier are working on a patch. I quite like it in this condition, but people are saying, oh, it's not right, on forums and things. So, as I'm happy already, I suppose I'll be even happier when that patch goes live and makes the graphics a bit better. The text is a bit hard to read on the dashboard, but it feels so good, You're like sat in VR. I mean, I played it a little bit out of VR as well, but really, it's better in VR. But you can't appreciate in VR the resolution because it's a low resolution in VR. So I wanted to see what it was like in 4K, so I played it out of VR to have a look. And it's really beautiful in 4K. But the thing is, you're not missing out on much, because a lot of the time you're just in space. There's not much in space, right, is there? It's just stars and stuff. So yeah, it's really beautiful. I love the way that, I don't know if you've seen it in action, but there's some menus that you use in the game. Now, obviously, if you're playing just on a normal screen, you can bring them up by clicking the mouse on a portion of the screen, or with a keyboard shortcut. Or you can have an alternative view that allows you to look round your cockpit.
Right.
And when you look to the left and right, the menus appear, like the future. But in VR, you can look around the cockpit freely. And so when you look to the right or the left, the menus, these menu systems, these holographic sort of screens appear in front of you. When you look to the right, it's like, I want the screen, so you look to the right and it appears there, and the left it appears there, and you can navigate through it. It's just so future. It's dead good. So yeah, I've been really enjoying Elite Dangerous. It's really cool. Looking forward to this patch to see what it will do, how it will change it. But yeah, just the exhilaration of the presence, really, of feeling that I'm actually in a cockpit of a starship is amazing. I had some combat as well, which was quite good.
Oh wow!
I took on these missions, but I could never seem to get to the end of the missions. Like it'd say, go and find this person. Couldn't find the person. One mission said, drop this stuff off in this system or at this space station. I did all the stuff right. I got the stuff. I took it to the space station, but when I got there was no button or anything to say complete mission, or so it just sat there, and in the end you've got a timer on the mission and it just ran out, and I was like, well, that's weird. But yeah, so I got attacked on the way to one of these stations. So I got to actually do some combat with my basic ship. It can't have been a real person because it's kind of like an MMO in a way, but it's so massive. Think a bit like maybe not to the extent of No Man's Sky, but it's a massive game. So there's NPCs in there as well, and I'm pretty sure it's only NPCs that I've encountered. I don't know whether it shields new players from people at the start or what, but anyway, I got attacked and I got some messages on my intercom saying, "Ha, you've made a mistake here, die," and all this stuff. So started a dogfight with an enemy, and what I remember from playing Elite back in the day on my Commodore 64 is that you rely really on your scanner. You've got like a circular scanner in front of you with the targets on, or the items on the map, the ships and entities on the map. And you follow that, really, and you use that to get the ship into your sights. And you do that in this Elite 2. It's there. But the amazing thing about it in VR is when the ship comes at you, so you're both going, approaching each other, hitting each other with your lasers. And then it flies over you, and say you'll bank one way or the other. You just look, because you're in the cockpit, and I can just look and follow and see where he's going. So he'd fly off like over me, and I'm just craning my neck. I'm doing it now. I've got to keep my face at the mic. And I'm craning my neck, following him over, say, my right shoulder, seeing where he's going and adjusting the controls. So I'm sort of chasing him, but I'm actually twisting in my chair while I'm doing it to follow him, and I can see where he's going behind me. And it's dead immersive. It's really cool. And then I blew... I had two battles. I beat them both. Both of them. It takes a while, though. It must be my rubbish weapons. But when I blew them up, it said on the screen that they were wanted, so I got a bounty. And I was thinking the only way I'd make money in this Elite game was like the old days with just trading between two, systems, buying low and selling for a bit high, and it'd take ages, like it did back in the day, to make some money. But I got like 80. You start off with the 1,000, which is traditional, and I was like, oh, it's going to take me a long time to get anything. And I blew up these two guys. I got 80,000 credits, and I was like, wow, I can buy some stuff. So I upgraded my pulse laser for a beam laser, only on one side. And yeah, it was really good. But the funny little story was, it made me late. I was picking my son up from school, and I'd glanced at the clock, because there's a clock in Elite Dangerous, so I'm all ensconced in my VR. And I checked the clock, and I thought, oh, that looks about right. I think the time's right in here. And it got to about 2:10, and I was like, right, okay. And I need to... My son comes out of school at 3:15, and I was like, oh, I just need to check my phone. And I checked my phone, and it says like 3:10.
Oh, no.
And I was like, you what? And honestly, I thought my phone was wrong, because I was so confident that I knew the right time. And then I'd like checked about 3 o'clock, so I was like, oh, this is not the right time. It's not on British summertime. And I had to leg it to the school. Luckily, I live close to the school. But I ran straight out of the house and got him. And it was just bad, man.
Wow.
I beat myself up about it, properly bad.
And so it begins you'll just rather be in VR than pick up your kid.
I thought that. It's like the downward spiral. Here's this idiot he's sacrificed everything. He just doesn't care about anything.
You'll be on the Daily Mail soon. They'll be like, father abandons child whilst playing VR.
Child struggled for weeks to enter into a tin of baked beans, but didn't know how. Yeah, he was taken away from his father, who actually said he wasn't bothered. He just wanted to play more VR.
Yeah, he said, "Don't worry, I've got a virtual son in."
Yeah, and I just felt like that kind of idiot. It was really bad. And then I read up about it, and apparently Elite Dangerous uses galactic time, which is a real time for space, which is like GMT.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was good. Elite Dangerous. I also played the beta of Forza Motorsport 6 Apex.
Cool.
Which I know you're a fan of.
Yes.
It's all right. It's all right.
So were you able to, because I think one of the things that I kept pestering you about, which was like, have you downloaded it yet? Have you downloaded it yet? Because it will run in 4K, won't it?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what I was doing, but I got like the last message I got from you saying, have you downloaded it? I was like, I got that. I was like, not yet, mate. And then I was like, right, I'm getting it. So I downloaded it. It was a big download.
Right.
Was it 30 gig, 40 gig?
Right.
And maybe even 50 gig. Big old download, so I got it anyway.
Okay.
And started it. And I watched the trailer. And I must admit, once I watched that trailer, I think I might have seen it before. It was because it came out a while ago, and I watched it again. I was like, "Oh wow, it's so beautiful! I've got to have a look at this." So I got it and I put it on and I put everything up to 4K, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But I tell you the weird thing about it, because it's a racing game, and all racing games now are beautiful. I found it difficult to see what made it stand out so much from like Drive Club, for instance, because I just find that racing games look so beautiful now because they're easier to do, aren't they? Because they're sort of on rails. A racing game, the devs, you just need to concentrate on the track. It's not like an open world, is it? So they can make them beautiful.
Yes.
So it is gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. And I went in the cockpit view, and you know the textures on the dash and everything. It's like really good. But I don't play the games in that view. I play them out of the car. So I'm probably like really rubbish. It's sort of like traitor. I'm more of an arcade gamer, you see. So it is stunning and everything. But I was just kind of like, it is stunning. But once you get to a certain level of stunning, I don't know if they can. I can tell it's amazingly beautiful, but I don't know. First of all, I don't know if they can go any further than where that is. But the jump to be able to play it from like just playing Drive Club, you know, Drive Club's beautiful as well, and I'm sure you know the Xbox games are that I haven't played. You know, the Forzas on Xbox One and stuff. So I wasn't underwhelmed or anything. I was like, oh, this is beautiful, but I was sort of like, what would make me want to play this? I mean, it's free anyway, this one. But what would be the urge to play it against another racing game that I'm quite happy with if that racing game also evolved like Drive Club sort of does? You know, I didn't understand. But I don't play Drive Club regularly either. There hasn't been a racing game that truly grabbed me since... Well, there was Project Gotham Racing 2 and then 3. And then I enjoyed Blur. Do you remember Blur? I
did indeed, yeah. Blur was fantastic. That was by, was it Criterion Studios down in Brighton?
I think so, yeah. And what was that one where... it was really good. Split Second.
Right.
And it was like you were on a movie set, I think, and you could trigger sort of environmental changes as you raced round.
Is that the one that you could trigger those big explosions?
Yeah, like you were on a movie set or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was one that you were on a runway and an aeroplane was coming down and then you could... Oh, God, I love that game so much. Completely forgot about that game.
I'm really smiling about that. It was a good one. It was good, wasn't it?
Superb. Yeah, I loved triggering those explosions. They just looked... amazing. Wow, yeah. I'm going to need to find that because I've still got the game in my gaming trunk. I mean, do you think it was called Split Second? Split Second. I'm googling it now. Keep going. So I mean, Forza Apex, Forza Motorsport 6 Apex. It's a free to play game anyway. So is this just the beta? Was the beta only on for a short time?
Yeah, the beta I think is only on for a short time. I'm not sure when it's ended or if it's ended. But yeah, it seems really nice. It's really great. I mean, I don't know whether I got the full experience because I looked in the settings and I had loads of assists turned on.
Right.
But I left them all on. But I did think, is it oversimplified it? For instance, I was following the racing line, and it was doing it for me really with the braking. Like I just held the trigger down. I thought I was doing so well, and then I thought, hold on a minute. I'm sure I was going faster than that. So I just like held the trigger down all the way round a massive sharp turn on the racing line, and it just did the braking for me.
Yeah, it sounds like you got the braking assist turned on. I normally have racing line turned on because I think that's really cool. It helps you just kind of judge the corners and things like that. I normally have that turned on. But yeah, it sounds like you got braking assist turned on as well. I
think as a default it was like everything was on and I didn't even realise. I thought I was doing really well and then I saw all this stuff that was on that, you know what I'm like. I was like, this is wrong. I'd have to have everything off. But I have tried a Forza Motorsport game before with everything turned off and I couldn't play it. I was like all over the place, but that was years ago. So yeah, it's really good. It's free to play. So yeah, it's well worth a look if you've got the means to play it. I'm not sure. I presume it must be coming out on Xbox because.
Nope.
Is it not?
This is at the moment it's PC exclusive. Now, obviously, we're due for a new Forza game at E3 in a month's time. They're due for a new announcement because will it be Forza Horizon 3 or will it be something completely different? But no, this is Windows 10 only.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Because it sets a level of graphics that it's going to set an expectation, that gamers are going to want. I think Xbox One gamers are probably going to want to be close to that because it's out there. They're going to sort of want that with the next one. Horizons, that's interesting because that's sort of the arcadey slant on the Forza series, isn't it? The Horizons,
it is indeed, yeah.
Sort of facet. Yeah. I suppose we'll wait till E3. I just thought that would drip over with all this Windows 10 unified Windows platform stuff. It would work both ways from PC to Xbox, the same as the other way around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Though this is a free to play PC exclusive Forza game, so it's very interesting because I think they've got kind of two teams within Turn 10, which is kind of one that deals with Forza Motorsports, one that deals with the Horizon series. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Is there like a favourite? Is it like the Infinity Ward and Treyarch of the old days? That Infinity Ward was always the stellar one, even though it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Forza Horizon 2, but Forza Motorsport, the latest Forza Motorsport, is gorgeous. It seems like you get the graphical bump in the Forza Motorsports games, but then you get the fun in the Horizon games, but that takes the kind of graphical finesse from the previous years. But going back to what we were talking about, it was split second. It was by Black Rock Studios and Disney Interactive Studios.
Oh.
That we'll talk about in just a moment. And it came out in 2010.
2010? So 6 years ago.
Yes, I'm going to try and find that game at the weekend. Oh, I want to play that again.
That's a good game. If you play it, let me know how it holds up. If it holds up to our rose-tinted glasses, I think it can't fail to. It's a good fun game. And Burnout was also a little favourite arcadey type racer.
Yes.
But yeah, split second, and yeah, you could trigger the explosion and sort of catch the guy behind you with it, but you'd escape, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just because that was it, wasn't it? If you're out in front and maybe someone's kind of getting you, or if you were kind of tailing behind and someone was going where you could do that detonation, then you could just trigger that, and then it would just go down, and you would jump through a building. There was one where you could jump through a boat. It was bonkers, but it was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, that's over the top stuff.
It's nice when something triggers that, and you're like, I really enjoyed that game, and now I want to find it.
It was a sleeper as well, I think it probably didn't get the notice it deserved at the time. I mean, maybe. I knew about it. I think I bought it as soon as it came out. I was looking forward to it, I remember. But yeah, I'd forgotten. You remember the other week we were naming all the Xbox games from 360 because it's been discontinued, and we never thought of Split Second. And there it is, another classic. I bet there's lots of others that we've forgotten.
Absolutely. I bet people were screaming into their pod devices last week going, you're not mentioning this, you're not mentioning that.
Split Second, Blur, Burnout, and many others that weren't racing, but that's all I'm thinking about at the moment. So what else did I play? And I suppose, obviously, Uncharted 4 on PlayStation 4. Oh, man.
Oh, Uncharted 4.
Yeah, it's sort of question. I think we said this again about another game. I can't remember which game it was, or maybe several, but specifically this one, it's kind of like almost, what are we doing talking about games when Uncharted is sitting in the disk drive, or for you, installed on the hard drive, just waiting to be played and savoured.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I was playing it just before we came up to pod. I was having a bit of a game, and it's just like I've now handed the controller over to Nicola, who's playing Ratchet and Clank. But I was just kind of playing it just then, and it's so gorgeous. So yeah. So how are you enjoying Uncharted 4? How's it? How's your kind of your first kind of couple of playthroughs going?
Yeah, I am absolutely loving it. First of all, it was quite touch and go because I didn't think I was going to be able to get it out from the shop where I got it delivered to. I got it delivered with Collect Plus. Where you get it delivered to, a newsagent or whatever nearby. Mm-hmm. And I went in to get it, and they said, "Oh, we need a code from you to pick it up." And I said, "Well, I've got the email." And they said, "Yeah, we need a 8-digit code or something." And I hadn't been sent anything. I was like, I haven't got that. I haven't got anything like that. They're like, well, we're sorry, you can't have it. I was like, you are? You're joking, aren't you? So I had to jump through some hoops to get the code, to get the game release. So that was a bit of drama. I was proper thinking I wouldn't be able to get it on the day, and it's just there, tantalisingly close to me. It's like, it's mine. It's mine. You can't keep it from me. The guy in the shop was very sympathetic. He said, what is it? What is it you're getting delivered? I said, it's a game. And he said, what? He said, what game? It's like Uncharted 4, and he went, oh man, he went, that's really bad. And then they were like, right, how can we help you? And they sort of helped out. Really, they were really helpful. And
I thought you was going to say you exited the shop, you then went round the back, climbed up through the window in pure Uncharted style.
Yeah, sort of grappled up.
Yeah, you went from ledge to ledge, and then you went in the top window and slowly went down.
yeah, I did. And then sort of a massive explosion went off as I jumped out of the window, just escaping it. I rolled on the floor, and then used my grapple hook to grapple me to safety.
And then Claire pulled up in a Jeep and raced you home.
yeah, there was a Jeep. Yeah, she did that, and then we were driving, and then we got to the cliff, and like all of a sudden there was no more road, and we flew off the cliff. But we sort of the car dropped, but we didn't because we had parachutes together, and then we landed in Sully's plane, and there off we went into the distance in the plane. Oh, sorry, it should have been the Uncharted music, not the Indiana Jones music. As if they're close.
They're so close.
There's no comparison, is there?
So you got the disc, you got the disc. I know we gave a bit of a public service announcement, just saying that there was a big patch coming. How long did that take for you for the disc drive, or did you just put it in while you were waiting for Sam to go to bed and stuff?
Yeah, because I'm in a bit of a situation where I can't play it unless Claire wants to watch it. So Claire's got to be home and Sam's got to be in bed, which means I can't play it. The hours that I can play it are basically after 7:30 at night.
Right.
So getting it from the shop didn't matter. I was just sat there. I couldn't play it, but that was good because it meant that I knew I couldn't play it. So I put it in to patch it straight away. Mm-hmm. It was quick. It was really quick. I mean, I've got a good fast speed now, but the patch was downloaded and the game was ready to play. So it told me within 10 minutes.
That's really good.
Maybe 15. So it was really quick, And I was like, "Is that really true?" And I pressed the options button on the game and did check for updates, and it said, yeah, it's up to date. So yeah, it was really quick. It was really painless. I don't know how that happened so quickly, but I was very happy about that. But then I was like, I kind of wanted it to last. It's like, I can't play it anyway because it's downloading this patch for ages.
So how long was your first playthrough? So when you kind of like stuck it on for the first night, how long was your first playthrough? How far are you in, and what do you think of it?
Played it for about 3.5 to 4 hours the first night.
Yeah.
Got to about chapter 6, I think. Mm-hmm. And then the next time I played it, which was last night. Yeah, that's right. That's right, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Got it on Tuesday night, Wednesday night. We're recording on Thursday. Got up to chapter 10. So that was probably another 3 or 4 hours. So I probably played between 6 and 8 hours of it. And yeah, I'm up to chapter 10. So I'm a fair way in. From the reviews I've read, they say it's 15 to 20 hours. I'm playing it on the default difficulty, and yeah, I absolutely love it. I love it. I think it's definitely the best looking game that I've ever played, ever seen, ever experienced. It's got under my skin. The graphics are phenomenal. I mean, just the title. I think we were talking about it earlier. There's a scene when you load the game, sort of before the menu, and it just shows a skeleton pirate in a cage swinging on some island. And I was waiting to play it, and I had that screen on for about 20 minutes. But I didn't get bored of looking at the detail. I didn't do something else. I was just looking at that. It's slightly swaying in the gentle breeze with the odd creak. And like, yeah, I was looking at the moss, and the moss was like blowing in the wind all around the rocks and stuff. The rocks were glistening. The metal of the cage had great light detail on it. The ragged clothes of the pirate was sort of swaying in the breeze as well as the cage rocked. And I was just looking at every detail of it because I just so dying to play it. And I was just amazed by that. But then obviously I started to play it, and it started with sort of a prologue. A bit like a James Bond film, where he starts and he's in the middle of something, isn't he? Like in the middle of a big action scene. So it starts like that. And I'm going to be vague because obviously we don't want to ruin anything. So it drops you in the middle of a big action scene, which is quite good. Not so much hand-holding, it was cool. And then, yeah, you went from one scene and all of a sudden you are in a prison, basically. All of a sudden you're in a prison, and this is all part of a flashback of Drake's youth, and it's all ties in with the story. But in the prison, it's night time on the first scene. on the sea on a boat, and it's the waves are crashing and it's all dark, and mysterious, and then all of a sudden you're in this like hotly lit prison yard, and the graphics are just assaulting my senses with every scene. Scene, and it's still carrying on and evolving. It went from the beautiful animation of the rough waters in that first bit. Then it was in this prison yard, and that was all like sort of sand on the floor, bright sun, blue sky, and the fierce inmates. And there was a bit of just walking along past inmates, and they were. You felt that it was. I felt more than once, loads of times during playing this game. I forget that I'm playing a game. The way that the groups of inmates were talking to each other, shouting abuse at my character, I felt intimidating. It's like I can see that they're planning something and things like that. And all the way through the different levels that I've played of the game so far, you get that feeling that there's a real world out there. I think more so than I've ever had before, rivaling Grand Theft Auto living world sort of standards. It really felt living. For instance, there's one bit, and you'll have played this too, where you get lifted out of the water after a beautiful scuba diving bit, and you're on a platform and you get lifted out into the world, and so you see the world, and for you as the player, you see it for the first time, and there's roads in the distance with traffic, and there's some work going on in the distance, like workmen and things like that, and I was just like,
on the bridge,
these little
Yeah, they're welding, aren't they?
That's
on the
right.
bridge.
They're busy getting on with their own stuff, and it was that kind of touch. I was like, this feels
so
real.
Good.
Because of that, I wouldn't have thought probably to put something like that in. But that kind of thing that's going on with people getting on with their daily lives made it feel really real. Do you know what I mean? I was like, wow, and the cars going past and things in the distance. And it felt like a lived-in universe. And more than once, I said to Claire, I was like, I can't believe I'm playing a game. I said, it feels like I'm playing a movie. More so, closer than it ever has for me in the history of me playing games. When I was younger, the dream was, with me and my friends, we played on these old games, was like, one of the dreams, like we said, imagine if computer games were advertised on the TV and things like that. It was like one of the core things was, imagine if you played a computer game and it looked as good as a film, or you were playing the film. And I think that's where the inspiration for like Dragon's Lair and things came. And this is the closest I've ever felt to that. And you can still see that it's CG, but the attention to detail and the capture of the people. There's areas where I've been in where you're in a crowded rooms, and you'll know where I mean, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And the realism and the interactions that seem to be going on around you with the people, it really seems that they're fleshed out. And I said to class, this feels like I'm playing a film rather than playing a game. I said, it's unbelievable. I think that was it. I was just like, this is unbelievable. And it gets better from there. That was an early stage in the game. I've recently, the point that I had to leave it last night because I was just getting too late, was I'd landed in Madagascar. And that, I believe, is the area that we saw the truck demo from E3. So that gives you an idea of the vista. But there's no way that watching a YouTube video, even like at the highest resolution, can really convey what it looks like at home because of the lack of compression. And it was, for me, it was kind of like a MotorStorm moment. I remember when I first booted up MotorStorm on the PS3, and I was staggered by the canyons. I just thought they were truly amazing, the graphical display of power. And this has got rocks a bit like that, and it's got like sort of that red sand on the floor, accompanied by green vistas as well in front of you, and a beautiful blue sky, and the lighting, man, the lighting is amazing, and the facial expressions as well, and the way that the game isn't afraid to sort of slow things down and explore the characters as well. It's a beautiful thing. What do you think about it?
No, exactly the same. I mean, I think kind of you're kind of hitting on at the moment one of my favourite parts. Now, there's a bit in the game, and again, kind of those spoilers, but there's this kind of real kind of like nice, slow, kind of almost tender moment that you have in the game, and Nicola was just about to go up to bed, and she was just about to go watch something in another room, I think, and she got instantly got sucked in by these two people just talking and just chatting, and she was just like, I said, oh, do you want me to stop? Are you what are you? She goes, no, carry on. I really want to see what happens here. And she was just instantly drawn in, and it was all of the little kind of, like you say, the facial animations, the kind of little kind of like wincing of an eye or kind of rolling of an eye or something like that, and they were just absolutely fantastic. And I just sat there and I was like, wow, this is where games is going. This is next generation. It's not the graphics. It's all those little kind of extra motion cap things that you can do. I mean, I totally agree with you. There's sometimes in the game when either it's a cutscene or when it's actually when you're controlling the characters that it is just flawless. It just looks absolutely incredible. And I bet you're hugging Claire on a daily basis for suggesting to get a new TV as well, because on the TVs that we have, it looks absolutely amazing. I think
the fidelity is outstanding. It really is. But you're right. It's more than just the fact that the textures are amazing and the graphics are so wonderful. It's about those. It's about that capture, isn't it? And that sort of attention to detail that captures the things that you wouldn't think would be necessary to put into a game to make it real, but it makes it more real because, I mean, we look out for stuff like that, but it's just that those unconscious actions that make people more real. It's like Nathan Drake, the main character, was talking to his wife or any character that he talks to. And one instance I remember, he was talking to this character, and the character was waving his arms around as he talked, so he was just gesticulating as he chatted away. And the thing that made it real was I was watching Nathan's eyes, and his eyes were following this guy's hands as he spoke.
Wow!
And it just made it really real. Instead of just staring sort of blankly fixed into the distance, it really felt that he was watching what he was doing, and that it made a difference that this guy was throwing his hands around to accentuate what he was saying. And it was as if the character of Nathan Drake, this made-up, computer-generated character, was being drawn in more by this other character that had been made up by its gestures. And I was like, wow.
That's so cool.
And I said to this to Claire as well, I said, this guy does not exist, but he's so real to me. And especially because there's the history of playing the other Uncharted, it's like it feels like an old friend's returned. A bit like, when I used to watch the Indiana Joneses or anything that's sort of like episodically released in as a movie or something. I was like, it's getting harder and harder to not think of like Nathan Drake and Elena and Sully. It's hard to believe that they were just made up from concept art and they're not real. And when it gets, as it surely will, as it evolves more and becomes more and more seamless, you're going to have characters in games that look so real, photorealistic, and it will be very easy to forget that they're not human. Because it almost is for me with Uncharted. I sort of think it just seems the characters seem kind of real, as real as I've ever known it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because as you know, I've been playing the Uncharted collection because I hadn't played those previously. So I played the Nathan Drake collection. I finished Uncharted 3 on Sunday. No, maybe Monday. Monday morning. I got up at 5:30 and I kind of had a game. I thought I've got to get this finished. So for 4 to come out, so I got up early, finished the story. Only had about half an hour left, and it was fantastic. And I really enjoyed it. I think 2 is kind of my favourite. But I really enjoyed 3, and then suddenly you put on 4, and the leap is ginormous. If you wanted, and this is me playing the HD collection on a PS4 to Uncharted 4 on a PS4, and the leap is incredible. Even with souped up graphics, it still looks, and that game looks stunning. I kept saying to Nicola while I was playing, I kept going, look at that, kept taking screenshots, and I was just like, this looks fantastic. And then you go to Uncharted 4, and it's just so much better. If you wanted to see what this generation was about, the 2 games that I've been playing on my PlayStation 4 recently, which is Ratchet and Clank and Uncharted 4, are just absolutely incredible. And another game I've been playing, and I'll get to in a bit, is the Overwatch beta as well. Overwatch, Ratchet and Clank and Uncharted 4 are just proof that we're in the next generation of consoles.
Yeah, we really are, and it's a pleasure to play these games. I haven't finished Uncharted 4 yet, not played much of it, but at this point, I love it that much that I'm sort of out there saying it's one of the, if not the best game I've ever played. I absolutely love it, and I sort of knew that I would.
Wait until the third act. In a couple of weeks' time, you'll be like, I hate Uncharted 4.
It's so slow. I hate it. When I'm not impressed with the graphics anymore, it's like it's a load of rubbish. But it's different. It's weird because obviously you don't get the playability out of a game like Uncharted 4 that you would out of The Witcher or Fallout 4. You can't just ramble around for ages. It's a linear experience. But I like a game like that because it can tell its story the way that the writers or the directors have intended. So I'm okay with that. I think I'm just going to be sad when it finishes because it'll be like losing an old friend. And I love the way that after you completed that first prologue bit, I love it when games let you play for a little while before putting the title on. I love that. Yep. And it like ends the big old explosive scene that you've played through, and then all of a sudden it's like da-na-na, Uncharted 4 is there on the screen, and then it like rolled the credits. And I was like, wow, it's like a Tarantino movie or something. And the credits, as the credits were rolling, it sort of was drawing on the parchment, sort of the hand-drawn stuff of scenes from the game's past. And it played this really souped-up version of the theme while it was doing it. And I was like, oh, wow. And I really got that feeling. I was like, you can really tell this is like a tribute to the other games because this is the final one. And it really felt like that. I mean, I don't know if it really will be. And I haven't seen the end or anything, but the way that was played out and the way that it was sort of done just made me feel that. It was like, wow, you can see the love that's gone into this. They're really saying, I don't know what it was just as if it's like, look at us, look at the other games, think about the other games, enjoy this game. The way that they did it, I was like getting all goosebumps and stuff. It's just awesome.
Yeah, no, I love it. Already in the game, there's been some kind of call-outs to old things. They've mentioned Charlie Cutter once. Who was in Uncharted 3. And it's just that there's some really kind of good moments. There's some absolutely kind of, and like I say, I'm only 7 levels in, I think, and I'm kind of really enjoying it. Like I say, that one scene for me really did kind of steal it. That's something that I'd love to go back and watch again because I really enjoyed that whole scene, and then that scene just ends with the ginormous Easter egg that just had me kind of just whooping, and I was just like, that's amazing that they did that, and it was just so I absolutely love it. It's just such a fantastic game.
Yeah, that Easter egg is an absolutely beautiful moment when Elena and Drake are sitting together at home, and I love the sort of exploration of their characters there, and it really gets across how they're feeling. But then that bit that you're referring to, and we won't spoil it for people because it's just nice to see. As soon as it sort of happened, I was just like, oh, look at that. And then it was like, oh, it's the original sound. And then it was like, oh, and look at this. This is fantastic. Yeah, it's just really good. So absolutely loving it. And if nobody, I don't think, that's got a PS4 should miss out on this game, it's just amazing. It's a console seller. I'm sure that if they haven't got a bundle out, surely they've got an Uncharted bundle. If I didn't have a PS4, I'd be getting one now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. There was a couple of tweets from Troy Baker this week. One of them was saying, you'll get so much more out of this game if you've played 1, 2, and 3. If you've played those games, and also they also said just to savour it. Just to take your time, spend kind of like 3-4 hours a night, don't try and just race through it all in one go, actually do take it in chunks, play a couple of chapters, play like 3 or 4 chapters a night and just enjoy the game rather than trying to race for the end. I know the problem I have is that you kind of want to get to the end without it being spoiled. So what you're trying to do is trying to stay away from that or trying to stop it from being spoiled. I've already kind of seen a couple of times where I'm looking through like my RSS feeds that suddenly I see something like Uncharted's ending and you're like no, and you just want to kind of flick straight past it because you just don't want it spoiled. But at the same time, I kind of agree with Troy Baker that I just really want to just kind of savour it, just enjoy it, take it in kind of almost like episodic chunks.
Yeah, that's right. But when I'm playing it, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like I'm drinking some fantastic drink that I'm enjoying, like something I've never enjoyed so much in my life, but I can't get it down me quick enough as well. So it's sort of like when I'm running around trying to do a certain bit, say, and it's taking me a little while, I'm kind of like, even though it's beautiful and I'm enjoying it, I'm like, I can't wait to get to the next bit to see what's going to happen as well, because I feel it reels you along from explosion to explosion, but not like, say, Michael Bay. I feel, so far anyway, just in a really good way. I can't get enough of it. And the different I think I've seen 3 different locales so far, maybe 4 if you include, actually maybe 5 with.
No, I reckon I'm in chapter 7, and I reckon I've been to 4 locales. Yeah. So if you're kind of landed in Madagascar, I reckon 5. So it kind of has the pacing of an Indiana Jones or a Bond movie where you are kind of like
sort of adventure, and it's just it's absolutely brilliant. I love it. I can't wait to play it. You know, it's great, and I'm kind of glad, like you say, that I can't just sit there and just play it, because then it would be over. So it is nice. We've both got it sort of forced upon us, really, that we can only play for a bit a night. So it will make it last longer. Yeah.
Mine even more so since Nicola's discovered the PlayStation 4 and Ratchet and Clank.
So is she not like been sort of like awe-inspired by seeing Uncharted, that she just wants to see it?
Well, no, I mean, she's deep into her second playthrough through of Ratchet and Clank, and kind of going through the challenge mode. So that is just like, I mean, right now that's exactly what she's doing while I'm podding. She's playing Ratchet and Clank. She's just like really kind of unlocking everything, and it's good to see. So you know, I mean, like I say, she watched that and she really enjoys that, and she will just kind of dip in and out. I don't think I've ever kind of stopped a game for her to kind of watch. You know, like go, don't play that until I'm back. But she's happy to just kind of jump in and out and just kind of watch it. Like, say, she was looking at some stuff on her iPad and just watching that scene, and was absolutely mesmerised by that scene.
It's
as
a
well.
Lovely scene. I wonder if I'll play it again. I sort of, at the moment, I was like, oh, when I complete it, I'm just going to play it again. But I've said that about many other things and never done it. But they've all been things like Mass Effect, where I didn't really want to like sit through another 40 hours and do it again. But might be worth it on Uncharted. And there's multiplayer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's multiplayer, and don't forget, maybe you should wait for your second playthrough for co-op, and then you can co-op through it, because the co-op, as we reported last week, is coming in the autumn.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, so just shelve it till autumn. Yeah.
Have you tried any of the photo mode yet? So
no.
You have to turn it on via the options first, because it's off by default. But once you turn on photo mode, you can then press the L3 and R3 down, and it takes you into photo mode.
Oh right, no, I haven't done that. I won't tinker with it. I'm going to play it as nature intended, and then I'll.
But no, this isn't kind of the filters that we were talking about.
Oh right, just taking the pictures.
This is you just take a screenshot, and then you can then mess around with it. Like you can change the depth of field, the focus, the color, etc., etc. And I've seen some absolutely gorgeous things that some people are doing.
Oh
with
wow,
this.
No, I haven't messed with it, but again, I probably won't. I'm too traditional.
Such a traditionalist, but no, it's absolutely amazing. I'll tell you one thing I was very impressed with, more so I guess, you know, any kind of PC gamer is probably like, this is what happens all the time anyway, but when you first booted up Uncharted, it started asking you about your surround sound, about whether you were like 7.1, 5.1, where you wanted the speech to come, whether you wanted it surround or whether you wanted it from the central speaker, and it was just going through all of these options right at the start, and straight away then I was like, well, this is something a little bit special. You know, this is more so than other games have done. And I was really impressed. With that.
I really liked that. And I loved the way that the auto mode picked up mine exactly. And I was happy with all the options. I mean, I still went through them all. To see if there's anything better or if I wanted to choose anything different. But I was like, okay, I've looked at everything and you've got it spot on. That's exactly how I want it. And I thought, they really were quite detailed sound options, weren't they?
They really were. It was really quite nice. It was quite nice to get kind of nerdy in the options.
Yeah, it was. And it's like, I always go through the options, no matter how much I'm dying to play the game and how much I've waited for the game. I always got the options first and have a look at them. It's sort of it's a rite of passage. You know, you've got to pay the piper before you start the game. So it's into the options. I invert my camera, my vertical.
Right. And is there anything else you do? Is there, because I have a kind of ritual that I do with every game. Is that what you do? You kind of like invert the camera first.
Yeah, I go into the options. I'll invert the camera. Check the and I always go into every option and just see what's there. So go to the display, make sure that it's always maximum, even though it always is. But I always do it just to make sure. Look at the brightness. I just always go through every option and just have a look.
Yeah,
it's like, right, okay, because it's better to look first, isn't it, before you before you start playing.
Oh, absolutely. Rather than getting halfway through and going, oh, you just realised there was
yeah,
an
it's
option.
like, I missed that. That would have been brilliant at the start.
Yeah, that would have been really good at the start. I think for me, my kind of ritual, the thing that I do with every game is I turn on the subtitles.
Yeah, I'd turn off the subtitles.
No, I turn on the subtitles. I don't want to miss a thing. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss like a little kind of like little speech or something. So I just make sure I turn on all of the subtitles.
Yeah, that's really handy, especially when you got somebody who start talking or something or some noise happening. But I can't have them on because if I have subtitles on, I just read them and I don't look at the game because I'm reading the subtitles, and I always read them because they appear before the people have finished speaking, and it's sort of. For me, it takes me away from it, so I always turn them off for that reason because I can't stop myself from reading them. And when I'm reading them, I'm not looking at the game, so I always take them off. Yeah, but I can watch. It's weird that, but I can watch a subtitle film like Old Boy or something, and I'm quite happy with that. When subtitles are the only way to watch something, I'm okay. And I've noticed when I'm watching a subtitle film that you forget you're reading them after a while, and you're still watching the film. So maybe that would happen, but with games, I've always turned them off. Once I had the option to, I got rid of them for just a personal preference. So yeah, I invert my vertical and my aim, vertical for camera and aim, and then I turn the subtitles off. And it sounds like you don't invert, but you turn subtitles on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm polar opposite to you.
How weird.
Because you're broken and you invert your joypad.
I don't know where that came from.
So have you?
I think it came from.
Have you been playing anything else, or is that kind of your?
That's me for the last week, and I'm very content.
Yes, absolutely. It's like I say, I can't wait to get back into Uncharted, and it's definitely a game that I'm going to be playing for a while. It's a game that I'm so happy playing that I'm actually thinking about not grabbing Doom. Doom comes out on Friday, and I'm thinking about just not grabbing it because I don't need a distraction. I'd rather just enjoy Uncharted and not get Doom.
Wow, Uncharted 4, the game that clipped the gaming butterfly's wings.
Absolutely. Because I don't want something else pulling me away because I know that when I'm playing Doom, all I'm going to want to do is play Uncharted. Yeah. So, and as I said to you with Dark Souls, it's not going anywhere. But that game does look awesome, but it's not going anywhere.
There's no VR for me at the moment. All I want to do is Uncharted. It's the pull of Elite is strong. The pull of VR is strong, but something Uncharted is really, really special.
Yeah, absolutely, and it deserves that special moment. So for me, like I said, I've been playing Uncharted 3. I finished that, really enjoyed that. So glad that I actually did take that time to go through the Uncharted collection. I was really happy with kind of going through that. Yeah. So I've been playing that. Playing a bit of Ratchet & Clank when I can. Nicola's been taking most of that time up. I got to see the ending, which I wasn't happy about, but I was kind of watching something or playing something on the Xbox.
I didn't realise you hadn't completed it.
No, I'm about one level away from one planet away from completing it, so I saw the ending, but it doesn't matter. It's Ratchet & Clank. It's not like Uncharted or Gears, so it's fine. And I've also been playing. in an Uncharted fashion. I've been playing a iOS game called Uncharted Fortune Hunter. Now, Uncharted Fortune Hunter is from PlayStation. It's from their mobile division, and it's available on iOS and Android, I believe. And this is a kind of a top-down action puzzle adventure with Nathan Drake, and you've got to draw lines around these kind of puzzles and mazes and direct kind of Nathan Drake to the treasure, and it's it's a fun little kind of time waster when you're on the train or stuff, and it's just quite nice just to kind of have a go of these. Now there's over 200 deadly puzzle chambers, they say in the descriptions. But the reason why I'm playing this is it unlocks rewards in the game, in Uncharted 4. So what it does is by playing this game and by getting to the end of all of these different mazes and things, you're unlocking bonus content for multiplayer skins, relics, one-time use booster, etc. in Uncharted 4: A Thief's End multiplayer.
Oh, that's cool. So have you stacked a few of those up that'll be ready and waiting when you play the multiplayer game then?
Yeah, must be. I mean, I haven't even touched the multiplayer. I'm not going anywhere near the Uncharted. I hear it's really good, but I'm not going anywhere near the Uncharted multiplayer until I finish the story mode. But yeah, I mean, already I've kind of already sent off about 3 or 4 kind of bits of loot waiting for me for when I log in, and I've connected this game up to my PlayStation profile, PS-Chessman. I've connected it to my profile, so it's sending stuff there as I play.
Wow, that's really cool. I like that. And is it fun?
It is. It's not too bad, actually. I just, it's like I say, it's on iOS, it's on iPhone, iPad, and it is just literally top down, and you just kind of go, okay, you need to go around here. Almost a little bit reminiscent of kind of Hitman Go, but nothing as in depth as that. But you do have to go onto different touchpads so you can get to there. There's something that's shooting at you. It's just a fun little distraction.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, no, so it's not too bad at all, not too bad. And then the last one that I was playing over the weekend, it was really interesting. I started playing the Overwatch beta. So the Overwatch beta was last weekend. I think we had it from Wednesday all the way through they extended it actually until Monday. And I played it, had a couple of games of it, and I was okay with it. I thought, yeah, this isn't too bad. And then I just went back to it. I thought, no, I just want to give it a little bit more time. And a lot of people on Twitter and stuff were saying, this is really good. So I'll just give it another go. And then it kind of clicked for me. I played a game with AI bots, and it just really clicked. I found some characters. They gave you a whole roster of characters to play with in the beta. I found a couple of characters that really clicked, and I really started enjoying it. And the great thing about Overwatch is not only, as I was saying before, does it look absolutely superb, but the character models on all of these players that you can meet are phenomenal. They almost look a little bit. There's one character that I liked called Diva, D.VA Diva. She was inside she had a robot, and it kind of really very reminiscent of Big Hero 6. And then every now and then, if the robot took damage, you ejected out, a bit like Titanfall. And then if you got your kind of power up, you could go back in, and it was just so much fun. It was very much the mode that I was playing was the kind of attack and defend mode. But I just really enjoyed it, and stunningly looking game, absolutely incredible. But like I say, with the character models and the gunplay, there's no aiming, there's no iron sights to this game. It is just shoot, just run and gun and just have fun, and it's just, I really liked it, and I liked it even more than I did Battleborn. Not that you can only like one or the other, but I definitely preferred Overwatch to Battleborn.
Right, cool. Is this from Blizzard?
This is from Blizzard. Yep.
Yeah, it sort of surprised me that they made this game. Really, I thought they could easily just rest on their laurels. But it is sounding like it's really good. I didn't play the beta, so it's good to hear from you that was it only on Xbox One, the beta?
No, Xbox One, PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay.
And so I played it on both, just to kind of have a
Any
look.
difference?
No, I couldn't really see any difference between the two. They both were running silky smooth and looked absolutely fantastic. I kind of took some screenshots on the Xbox and posted them. There was one where you're in this Japanese garden, and then there's just all these kind of very kind of pink blossomy trees, and it just was. I was like, wow. I was like, wow. I've got to share. I've got to take a photo of that. Double tap. Take a screenshot. And it's just it's stunning. I really like I say, they gave you a big roster. I got to try out a lot of characters, and there was about 4 or 5, because the great thing about it is that within Overwatch you start the game, and obviously I was just playing with AI, but everybody chooses their character, and what it will actually say is actually you have too many of this type of character, you might want to try these to try and balance out your team. And I really liked that. I thought that was really good. So instead of everyone going in as a big heavy, it's actually saying, do you know what, you may need a couple of scouts or a couple of snipers, and it just gives you that option to kind of to do that. And every time you die, you can then change your character. You can go to another character if you want, just by pressing X. And I really enjoyed it.
So is the character fixed with the class? So, if it's a sniper, could any character be a sniper or a scout? Or is it that a certain...
No.
So there's a certain character and they're fixed as a sniper or a scout or whatever?
That's right, That's right, yeah. So they had like this guy who looked a bit like the Grim Reaper, looked like a bit like the guy, looked like Grim Reaper, had double guns, and he was obviously just like in there. There was another guy who had a really cool sniper rifle. I can't remember the character's names, apologies, but the guy with the sniper rifle was just absolutely superb, and I was hanging back when I was him, and it was just really cool. I was very impressed.
Wow, I'd read a few comments about it, all positive. One that stuck out was saying that it almost reminded them of Splatoon in its approach, and that if it had like a novel sort of aiming feature that really worked, that it could be just phenomenal. They were really saying it was great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't fault it. And it's definitely one I'm thinking about whether to buy. I'll see. I think it's another game like The Division. I'll see if there's a group of people that are buying it. And then if they are, it might sway me to whatever platform they're on, if we're going to do that kind of like getting a group together. Because I think it will kind of, similar to The Division, it will kind of live and die kind of with that group. Yeah. If you're in a good group and you can play, I think that's kind of when when Overwatch will really kind of come into its own.
How's your Division doing? Are you still playing it?
We're still playing it. We're actually going to be doing the incursion. I think maybe on Sunday we're going to be doing the incursion. So we're going to do that. So we're very excited about that. So we're up our gear level's right. We're ready to go. Though Division, I haven't played it for a week, but I still miss it when I'm not playing it. So which is always a good thing.
I just keep seeing headlines. I'm not reading them. But this could be a bit clickbaity, or they could be true. I don't know. But I keep seeing headlines saying things like players leaving Division in their droves, and Division's going to die because Ubisoft's not supporting it, and things like that. So I'm glad to hear it's still fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're definitely still supporting it. I mean, there's a new free incursion that's coming out soon, which is down in Columbus Circle. So and we haven't even had the DLC yet. So it's really interesting. But with anything, there's always going to be that. Everybody's excited about it, and then something else distracts people. Some new and shiny Battleborn comes out. Battleborn is out now. Uncharted. Maybe when Destiny gets its update, you're going to just see these games having ebbs and flows. As I was saying, the four of us, we haven't got together for a week. So that just shows, we haven't played it for a week, and I haven't fired it up when I haven't been kind of with the guys. So it just shows that there will be ebbs and flows in it. So they're probably right. Those articles.
Oh, okay. You look like and then something will come out and it'll flow and then it'll dip. Yeah, so we'll just see.
That was just like Destiny, for Nicola and I, when we were playing Destiny, we didn't touch it for ages, and then suddenly there was a new expansion came out, so we were like on it, and then we all started playing it again. And so I think those online shooters, or those ones where you kind of get more and more story, I think that's kind of how they're going to go, isn't it? Kind of up and down. But you're right, it's over to Ubisoft now to support this game properly, and to give us really good content to keep us wanting to come back.
Absolutely, and it's in their interests to do that, so we'll see what happens. It's good that there's a choice of sort of similar console platform games. I know they're not really that similar, but you know what I'm getting at with Destiny and The Division, sort of like big online games like that. It'd be interesting to see if there's another one that tries to compete in the future that I can't even imagine. A fantasy one. A fantasy one would be a good one, wouldn't it? But then everybody with an interest in that, surely they may have just already got their Warcraft account years ago. Unless there's an audience that hasn't got PC that would love to get into that, but maybe there's already one out there, some kind of EverQuest-y thing or something. It won't be EverQuest because that's not going to happen anymore. But Final Fantasy, there's a Final Fantasy online, isn't there? And there's Elder Scrolls Online. Actually, come to think of it,
there is. Yeah. I'm sure there will be a lot more kind of because fantasy's quite big at the moment, isn't it? So I'm sure someone maybe that was going to be Fable Legends, but the sad passing of Lionhead. Anyway, so should we jump into the news section? And in this week's news section, we have details on a new Battlefield and a Battlefront game. We've got a new console announcement for China, and Nvidia releases details of their new graphics card. It's all about new this week. Darren, first piece of news is with you.
It is, and this is the news about Nvidia's new graphics card unveil. So, they've unveiled their Pascal wine. So this is going to supersede and take over from the last generation, the 900 series, which were the Maxwell cards, of which I have one. I've got the 980 Ti that I pretty much only just got. So yeah, I'm feeling a little bit sad by this. Well, not really, and I'll explain why in a little while. But yeah, they've revealed the new cards. GeForce GTX 1080 and the GTX 1070. So these are based on the new Pascal architecture, which is going to offer massive leaps in power performance, power efficiency, and graphical performance. So they rumoured at this and hinted at this for some time. But people were like, well, we'll wait and see. You know, the proof is in the pudding. But it seems that these cards really do take graphics cards to a new level. NVIDIA has invested a heck of a lot of money in R&D, getting these out there, and it looks like that it's been worth it, because the 1080, for instance, it's faster than two 980 cards. Now, I've got the 980 Ti, but the 1080, so that's a little bit more than a 980, but the 1080 on its own is faster than two 980s in SLI. For instance, now 980 card, I don't know how much they are, probably about £300. But this is going to be on sale for when it comes out. It's coming out on May the 27th. It's going to be $599. It's also better and faster than not only my card, but the sort of flagship card at the moment, which is the Titan. So the GeForce GTX Titan card, which is like, up till recently, it's like £900 to buy or £1,000 to buy it, and its benchmark setting is like miles ahead of the Titan X card from NVIDIA.
Wow.
And it's coming in again, I'll just say that, at $599. So what's that going to be for us? Probably about £400. So they've developed a technology here that's cheaper, must be cheaper to make, but gives more energy efficient and better performance. It's kind of staggering how amazing this is, you know, because they've been trying for ages to get. I don't think that there's been for years a jump in power on the same lines as what they've done.
Really?
Yeah. It's massive. So yeah, it's good news for PC owners, because you know, over time this architecture will become the standard. I don't know what AMD are going to do to compete with NVIDIA here. But they've got some new cards to unveil as well. So we'll see what they say. We'll see what they say about that. But it's very interesting. So you're going to get the 1080 card coming out on May the 27th. I don't know if that's a global launch or not, but certainly in the States, May the 27th at $599. And also there's a 1070, which is going to give Titan X level performance for $379. Now, a Titan X card, as I said, is like, when I last looked, was about £900.
That's just incredible.
So probably about $1,300. But you're going to get that now in the 1070 for $379. And that's set to launch on June the 10th. So yeah.
Wow. And are these still, as the kind of form factor of these graphics cards, are they still big monsters? Are they still kind of...
Yeah, I think they're probably equivalent size. I'm not sure, actually. I haven't seen the actual measurements, but they're not going to be any bigger because they wouldn't fit in a standard case. They're not. I don't think they wouldn't be releasing one that was... Like the cards you get at the moment, really, if you're on a mid-tower, they just about fit. So it would be silly to release something that wouldn't fit in most cases.
So are these? So the power of these kind of the graphics cards that we're looking at here, are these the ones that will be able to kind of maybe push out 4K with ease, or
I don't know about. I don't know.
Or would you need to double up on them? But you could still double up on them and be under the price of a Titan card, wouldn't you?
You could double up and be under the price of a Titan, and each one is probably got about 20% more power than a Titan, roughly.
Oh wow!
So that's an amazing stat. As for whether they could do it with ease, I mean, my 980 Ti can push out 4K, but it could be better. It's not as smooth as I would like, so it will be better than mine. So I don't know. I think you're pushing it with ease, but I don't know. And there's more and more refinements come along, and the developers work with the new architecture. And if they harness the power of DirectX 12 and things like that, then yeah, maybe you can get pure 4K with one card. So yeah, it's really interesting, and I was a bit gutted I realised that I couldn't and I wouldn't have had my Vive with no graphics card.
Yes,
because I was just waiting, and you've got to pull the trigger sometime. It was a bit closer than I would have liked to buy a graphics card and get superseded. Within. I mean, I bought that graphics card in December because that's when I was building my PC, and it broke, and I sent it back and stuff. I wish it had sort of broken now. I could get a refund. If something like that happened, I think I'd get a refund and go for this, but. I've sort of made my peace with it because the way I'm looking at it is my graphics card is powerful enough to do everything that I want it to do, and I think it'll last me a year or two, and I'm going to look to upgrade because the way they do it, they bring out like a flagship like the 1080 and then they'll bring out a 1080 Ti. So right. I'm going to do a natural evolution and just wait until the 1080 Ti comes out and then think about it. If my graphics card is letting me down a bit, I might go to the 1080 Ti then, but if my graphics card is still okay, I'll just wait. Yeah. And get my money's worth out of my card. So I'm okay. I've made my peace with it. But when I first heard the news, I was a bit gutted. I was like, this is bad. Should I sell my card and get this one? But I don't want to be without a graphics card. At the end of the day, I don't want to be without my graphics card. I don't want to not be able to play my VR while I get it all sorted out. I couldn't have waited the last few months, waiting for an announcement. And the rumours were it could be early, could be mid, could be late 2016 that these come out. Mm-hmm. So, I just thought, I'm in the market now, so I did the best with what I could. I just tried to justify myself. I got the best that I could at the time, And I knew that this was on the horizon, but what can you do? And it might not have been as good as it is, but it does look like it's living up to maybe not quite exactly what Nvidia are saying. I think they're saying like 50% better than a 980. When actually, when you run, Eurogamer have done a good article in Digital Foundry all about the new cards, and they're saying in reality it's not quite as amazing as they say, but it's still amazing. Right. So they've sort of got it running in perfect circumstances, but they've run it really and done some benchmarks in the real world, and they say no, it's not quite what they say, but it is really good. Really good, and it's cheaper. That's the thing; they're delivering more for less. It's great. They've struck gold there. I bet when they realised this solution, someone came to them and said, "Look what we can do. We can give you this. It's more power efficient. It's not going to need as high a PSU, and it's better than your flagship card at the moment. And we can deliver it for this amount." I bet they were doing cartwheels. I as a consumer feel like doing cartwheels because this kind of thing. I mean, I think consoles usually use AMD and stuff, but the power of the flagship and the top of the range graphics cards and that technology is all going to drop into. It's going to filter down into everything, isn't it? So new consoles will use this technology eventually, and it means a better, more graphically enjoyable environment for us all. So it's really, really good news. I can't wait I can wait. I don't want the TI to come out too quick, but I just can't wait to see what they do. But more than that, I'm looking forward to the consumer models and reading some more reviews on them as well. But I'll stick the link actually on the page if anyone wants to read about the new Nvidia GTX 1080 and 1070 cards, because they do look amazing and they look beautiful as well. They're aesthetically pleasing, like all these graphics cards are. They look like such beasts, and it's almost a shame that they're inside PCs because I just really like them. They look like little spaceships. This particular 1080 to me, it looks a bit like a Wipeout hover vehicle or something. I just love it.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that must be a good job designing the casing for those graphics cards.
Yeah, I know, they're really lovely. So that's really good news, really interesting. And also, just sort of linked to that a little bit, is the news that Microsoft, excuse me, they've unlocked some new Windows 10 gaming features. So what they've done, this happened on May the 10th. They've rolled out 2 new features for Windows 10 gaming. So they've unlocked the frame rate for universal Windows platform games and apps. So that's good. So people with the hardware to run things at higher frame rate will be able to.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also rolled out support for AMD's FreeSync and NVIDIA's G-Sync in universal Windows platform games and apps. So that's cool. They say that that once applications take advantage of these new features, you'll be able to play your UWP games with unlocked frame rates. They expect Gears of War UE. Gears of War UE. Tell me what that is, Anthony. Ultimate Edition, thank you. And Forza Motorsport 6 Apex to lead the way in adding the support in the near future. And that's what the press release says. Looking further into the future, you can expect to see some exciting developments on multiple GPUs, so it looks like SLI support in DirectX 12 in the near future, and a truly impressive array of DirectX 12 titles later this summer and fall. So yeah, that's cool. And an idea of the current top Windows games they'll be able to probably utilise this stuff is like Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Quantum Break, probably needs a bit of work, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Forza that I was playing as well. So there you go.
Fantastic. That's really cool that they're doing, like you say, and then potentially similar to graphics cards, that would then filter down to the consoles as well?
I think so. I mean, I'm just guessing there, but it makes sense, doesn't it, that the technology at the top, if it's proved, then would filter down into the consoles, over the years when it gets cheaper. I mean, maybe in 3-4 years, or the next generation, if we get a next generation of consoles, they'll be looking to this kind of technology that NVIDIA have unveiled, or maybe they'll go, because AMD are going to unveil some stuff as well, but, it's going to benefit everybody. It's kind of an early adopter thing, isn't it, if you want that power. But yeah, that's all I can say. That's all I can think to say.
Fantastic. Next piece of news is with me, and on Friday, so just before the weekend, DICE officially announced, because there had been lots of rumours and lots of leaks, but DICE officially announced the next Battlefield. Now this is called Battlefield 1, which takes us to the dawn of all-out war. So we have Battlefield 1, which is taking place in World War One. So they stunning looking trailer that showed game engine footage, and I think we have to put those in ginormous quotes, but it showed game engine footage, and they were saying that the game will have an epic adventure-filled campaign taking place in locations such as the Italian Alps, the Arabian Desert, and they're also going to continue with their multiplayer, which will support up to 64 players as well. So, like I say, they had a great trailer it had horseback riding, there was tanks flipping over, there was dogfights in biplanes, and I think, and then right at the end of this trailer, well, I'll stick this in the show as well, but right at the end of the trailer, there was this ginormous Zeppelin that just kind of breaks through the kind of cloud and mist and dust, and then this ginormous Zeppelin breaks out, and it just absolutely looks stunning. Like I say, this is all kind of game engine footage, but not in game. We've been there before, we know that. But Battlefield 1 will be coming out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC only. So similar to Call of Duty, it's also kind of leaving the previous consoles behind now. And that's going to be coming out on the 21st of October 2016.
Wow. Christmas shaping up well. Yeah, I watched that trailer. I was just like, shut the front door. It's just looking good. I was like, as you say, all in engine. So we'll see what it's actually like in-game, but
yes.
Yeah, it looked to me like it was going to take Call of Duty's crown, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting, isn't it? You've got Battlefield 1, and then you've got Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare's in space, it's in the near future, and then you've got Battlefield 1 going back to kind of World War One. And it's just really interesting how these two have kind of really have polar opposites, aren't they? They're really kind of like pulling at different ends of the spectrum. But, and as typical kind of Battlefield, they've already announced a special edition. They've already announced the first piece of DLC. They've already kind of, they're on the money with this already. So it's very interesting. One of the DLC pieces, actually, the first piece of DLC kind of comes out with the Harlem Hellfighters DLC, and they kind of haven't gone into kind of how much of the Harlem Hellfighters, or whether they're going to be multiplayer or in the single player. But it just looks really interesting. And the Harlem Hellfighters were a infantry regiment in the US Army that was made up of African Americans and Puerto Ricans, and they were kind of used in kind of World War One, and they were, so it's very interesting that they are kind of dipping from the very kind of rich history of World War One.
Yeah, it is. It is. It'll be very interesting to see what the game's like. I mean, my favourite sort of World War One game is one of the Black Ops games. I think it was.
Right.
And that was pretty cool. The one, I don't know if you remember it, had Kiefer Sutherland doing one of the voices. Oh, I can't remember it now. But it was really cool. It was really cool. So this will be interesting. It'll be just really interesting to see what they do with it. And it's funny because have you heard that Battlefield 1 is the most liked trailer in YouTube history?
Wow, really?
It is, yeah. And the comparisons against Call of Duty Infinite Warfare are quite stark, because that's the most disliked, it turns out.
Right.
So,
wow.
This information I got from Forbes.com.
Yeah. And
they've reported that after the reveal of Infinite Warfare, it got and we discussed it, didn't we? And the fact that it's gonna come, if you pay extra, you're gonna get that remaster of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but you can't buy it separately. And I think that is probably the catalyst and the crux of the dislikes, because the community are trying to send a message. Looks like they're sending the message pretty well, because
pretty loud and clear.
Yeah, at the time of the report, I mean, I could check the trailer because I bet it's changed. But at the time of this report, it was the most disliked video game trailer of all time, with 300,000 dislikes.
Wow, really?
Yeah, actually, that. Yeah. Hold on a minute. No, that was last week. So last week, that it was at 300,000 dislikes. And then at time of reporting, which the date on this report, let me just have a look at that. It was May the 9th. So a week ago from May the 9th, so say 2nd of May, it was on 300,000 dislikes. But on May the 9th, it had 1.2 million dislikes. I was getting it wrong there. It's now at 1.2. Probably now, we're a few days after that. It's the most disliked trailer ever, but also the 8th most disliked video period.
Oh my God.
In the history of YouTube.
Wow.
So that's for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And then you've got Battlefield 1 that's not been out that long, that trailer. And that has passed 1 million likes, which has put it in the top 250 most liked videos ever. And it makes it the most liked trailer of all time across film, TV, and games.
Wow. When you upset that Call of Duty crowd, you really upset that Call of Duty crowd, don't
Crikey, you? Yeah. Wow, yeah. I was sort of tempted to have a look at the trailer, but my laptop's playing up a little bit, and I didn't click it in case it crashes everything.
Absolutely. I mean, as we were reporting last week, the Call of Duty trailer, it does start quite slow, goes into space. It's Call of Duty. The thing for me is that I've always enjoyed the Call of Duty campaigns. They are my kind of Jerry Bruckheimer weekend of just kind of playing those. The last time I played Battlefront, which was the last Battlefront, which was the police campaign, I got bored halfway through. I actually got bored halfway through and stopped playing it. And I just was like, this campaign has nothing. Where at least Call of Duty just is kind of just in your face, loud and crazy, but you do kind of just want to get to the end of it. Where Battlefront, I ended up just kind of getting a bit bored by the time I got to the end. So I was a bit kind of. So I'm hoping that maybe this. I mean, it looks like a good package. It looks fantastic. So hopefully, the campaign will be enjoyable, like a Call of Duty campaign. But it's very surprising to see how the populace have gone against COD.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I've never played a Battlefield game. Ever.
What?
I know. I know, man. I always liked Call of Duty, so I was in the Call of Duty camp, and people had talked to me about Battlefield, and I'd just be, nah, I don't like it, I play Call of Duty. And now I don't play Call of Duty, so there is a gap. And
yes.
I'm seeing that trailer, and I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. But my belief was that Battlefield, even before Call of Duty got there, was always more about the multiplayer than the campaign. And because I'm a kind of campaign guy, that's why I loved Call of Duty, because they had really, at the time, I found that they had really sort of heartfelt and emotional campaigns, sort of, pre Modern Warfare, really, the World War II stuff and that. And it made me sort of humbled, really, at the horrors of war and stuff. And then the Modern Warfare I just thought was amazing because I'd never seen anything like it. I really enjoyed that. Really loved that because I'd never played like a Modern Warfare game. And so still I was firmly in that camp. And I think I had a go on like Battlefield. I might have borrowed it off someone. So saying I've never played it might not be strictly true. And I had a go on the multiplayer, but because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, it's not enjoyable when you're just getting pounded all the time. So I just never played Battlefield, so never got into it. If they come out with a game that looks as beautiful as that suggests it may, and it's got a good campaign, because I'm all about the story, me, then I might jump in. But, we'll see. But that was it piqued my interest for certain. Somebody who's not been interested in that franchise ever, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, that's something special. That looks really good. But I do remember that the trailers for the last one, that ended up being quite boring, as you say, also looked pretty damn good. I remember seeing it at E3 and thinking, wow, this Battlefield really looks good. But it turned out the game wasn't that great.
I think that wasn't. It might have been the last battle. It might not have been the last Battlefield, but it was the one before where they were kind of like in the war-torn streets, and that was really good fun. And the multiplayer was always good fun. And I think that may have even been the one where they released an expansion, like a Vietnam expansion, and that was that was a really big deal. And there was great fun, and it looked stunning. But you're right. I would like to say it was just the last one, the police one, which I can't remember what it's called, Battlefield Hardline, I think it was, and that was just, like I say, it was just the campaign was just tad boring, but the multiplayer is where it shines.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like Battlefield, that one. It was weird. It was really left field, but yeah.
They were really trying to mix it up, weren't they? They were really trying to maybe try and do something fresh and new. And,
in the boardroom, it's like, everybody's sick of this, we need to change the formula, and then they came up with this, and it looked great on paper, but it just didn't quite hit the mark. Could have been fantastic, but it just didn't work.
Exactly, you've got to try these things, haven't you? Because you're right, they could be absolutely phenomenal, and you could be like, yes, we nailed it, or it could just blow up in your face. Literally blow up in your face.
Boom.
And I'm sure that's a special move in Battlefield 1. So Battlefield 1, it's coming out in October, it looks really good. I'm sure we're going to get more information at E3 next month.
Indeed. So the next item is with my good self, and you're a lucky man, Anthony, because you get to take part in the Mr. Games video game quiz.
Oh, there's a quiz now?
There's a quiz.
Oh, yes.
Wow. So this website is called Mr. Games, and I'll put it on the webpage for other people to have a go on, though they'll know the answers at the end of this segment. And what it is, there's a little quiz about how much are those old classic games worth now.
Right.
So let's do a few, okay? So I'm in the page, so it's giving me number one, and it's Ice Climber for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was first sold in 1985. 1.5 million copies were sold, and the little trivial fact it gives us is it was the 43rd best-selling NES game. What's it worth?
Oh, I like it. I like your game show host voice as well. I like this. This is good.
What's it worth, Anthony? Now I'm going to take off you the price of a used, like one you trade in. So it's not sealed. It's been used, but it's not loose. It's been used and it's in a box.
Okay, being used in a box, I would say £250.
Let's have a look. So I'm going to pop £250 in the box, and we find out. Okay, way off. The highest paid for this game is £1,818.31.
What? I haven't even heard of it.
Well, that was factory.
What?
That was, but admittedly, that was factory sealed. Complete in the box, actually £84.49 for Ice Climber. Let's go on to the next one. Super Mario Brothers.
Ooh, hello.
First sold in 1985 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Total copies sold 40.2 million. Fact, best-selling retro game of all time. Single platform. What's it worth?
I'm going to say best-selling retro game ever. I'm going to stick with my this is kind of my value for it. I'm going to stick with £200.
£200, sir. And these are games that you could have lying around. This isn't stadium events that we're talking about. So, complete in a box. MrGames.com has it down as £72.42.
Oh, I obviously value that a little bit too much.
So a little bit off with that. Let's do another one. Castlevania, first sold in 1987 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Total copies sold, 1.2 million. Fact, 55th best-selling NES game. What do you think?
Right. £75.
£75, just come down a bit. Not bad. £104.72.
I'm close.
If you've got a complete in-box version of Castlevania on the Nintendo, on the NES, you could sell it, according to this, for £104.72. If it's factory sealed, £780.29.
Right.
Wow. Next one, Game Boy Tetris.
Right.
First sold in 1989. Total copies sold 35 million. Fact, best-selling game of all time, multi-platform. What's it worth? Wow, I had this. Well, I've had most of them, but
I would say £10.
£10 for a boxed version of this that's been used. Let's have a look. Complete in box, £17 and 4p.
Oh, not bad.
Not bad. Close. Factory sealed for this one. It must have been. It's funny because it doesn't sound like there was like miles more of them in the wild, but £34.79 if you got it sealed. Next one, Street Fighter 2 from 1991 on the Super Nintendo. Wow, I mean, I remember this coming out and it was like £80 to buy it on the cartridge.
So what are we going? Are we going factory sealed?
No, don't go for just as if you had one lying around. If you still had it in the box, what do you think it'd be worth? 6.3 million copies sold. Fourth best-selling Super Nintendo game.
This one's a biggie. See, it could either be an incredible amount of money or maybe nothing. I'm gonna go for £50.
Okay, I don't know the answer either till I click go. So let's have a look. £50. Not bad. £63.89.
Oh, I'm close. I'm in the right ballpark.
You are. The highest recorded payment for a factory sealed one is £226.62. Wow. Right, here we go. Super Mario World. First sold in 1991 on the SNES. Total copies sold 20.6 million. Fact, best-selling Super Nintendo game. What's it worth?
I love that voice. This is going to be, I would say, probably about £100.
Let's go for that. £100. Okay, complete in the box, but used, £147.32. So if anybody's got one of these lying around, an old SNES cartridge, you could get one for £7.32 for it, according to Mr. Games. Factory sealed, £212 and 29p. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991. These are games that like loads of people must have.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say a fiver.
Right, let's go for that. In the interest of being swift. Complete in the box, £14.20.
Oh, close.
Factory sealed, £351.44.
Who's going to pay £300 for Sonic the Hedgehog?
I don't know.
Sonic 2, maybe. Sonic and Knuckles, maybe.
Crash Bandicoot.
Ooh.
First sold in 1996. Copies sold 6.8 million, and it's the 8th best-selling PlayStation game. What's it worth?
I reckon factory sealed, this is worth a lot of money. But just completed, kind of knocking around. I'm sure I saw one in CEX the other day in Tunbridge Wells. I'm going to say probably £35 and 24p.
Oh, wow. Let's put that extra bit in. Makes all the difference. It won't let me.
Oh, okay. 35. What did I say? £34.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So, complete in the box, according to this, is £51.83. Highest paid sum for it, £763.96 for a factory sealed version.
I thought it would be high.
Yeah. We've just got a few more. Resident Evil, one of my favourite games, when it came out. Ooh. First sold in 1996. Sold 5.5 million copies on the PS1. Fact, 15th best-selling PlayStation game. What's it worth?
I'd say £40 in a box.
£40.
Factory sealed a lot higher, judging by Crash Bandicoot, but I'm going for 40, please, Bob.
That's not bad, mate. £35.50.
Get in there.
That's good. A fiver. £4.50 off. Factory sealed, £575.10.
Wow.
Next one, Pokemon Blue and Red on the Game Boy. First,
these could be quite big, actually, couldn't they?
First sold 1996. Total copies sold 23.6 million. Fact, Pokemon Red and Blue are the second best-selling Game Boy games. What's it worth?
I'm going to say £100.
£100.
Shooting for the stars.
Let's have a look. If you've got a box copy, £85.55. The website says factory sealed, £312.58.
Not too bad, then. Not too bad.
Yeah, we're getting more recent now. Mario Kart 64. We're not getting more recent. It's the same year. First sold in 1996. Total copies sold 9.9 million. Second best-selling Nintendo 64 game.
This is so much fun. I'm going to say £140.
Okay, let's have a look. So, Complete in the box, £92.29.
Oh, damn it.
Factory sealed, £191.69p.
Wow, not bad, not bad.
The penultimate one, Final Fantasy VII. First sold in 1997. I feel like I'm doing an auction. Total copies sold 9.7 million, of which I was one. Fact, second best-selling PlayStation game. Wow. What's it worth?
Oh, this will be interesting because I have one right by where I'm podding in a drawer next to me.
I've got one too.
Yeah. All the discs. The disc 3 has never been played because I never got that far. I would say complete in a box. I would say 75, £50.
£50. Oh, quick change of heart. Well done, £53.24.
Just high five me.
Yeah, if you got it sealed, £878.27.
Oh, damn it. I knew I shouldn't have unopened that.
The trouble is with this website, it doesn't tell you who's going to buy it in the box for £53.24. It certainly isn't Game or CEX, is it?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It's probably like eBay or a retro fair or something like that. Does it tell you where the highest paid was?
Not really.
Right.
Right, well, it might do. Maybe I'll click on it. Last one. Zelda the Ocarina of Time. First sold in 1998. Total copies sold 7.6 million, again, of which we were probably one.
I still have mine.
Yeah, I've got mine. Fact, fourth best-selling Nintendo 64 game. What's it worth?
I'm going to go for £80.
£80. What have we got here? Complete in box, £63.89. Still not bad, I suppose. Factory sealed, £269.80. I'm surprised.
So it wasn't too bad. It was $863 and it was $85. Not too bad. But those factory seal prices are just ginormous on all of those. That was so much fun. Thank you very much.
That's all right. I hope the listeners enjoy it as much as we did.
So what is the website again?
I put it on the page, but it's Mr. Games, and that's game with a Z on the end. So MrGamez.com/video games. And you can do the quiz yourself.
I really want the title of this podcast to be "What's it worth?"
What's it worth?
That was fantastic. I love that voice. Oh, thank you very much. Right, I want to quiz every week now. Oh, that's just absolutely superb. Fantastic. And so next piece of news is me. Might as well just finish there. We're not going to get any better than that. Next piece of news is with me. And China has a new console. This week, in China, they announced a brand new console. Now, this is a console that's coming out from the manufacturer Fuse. It's called the Tomahawk F1 console. And it was unveiled at a press conference. Now, the interesting thing about there's many interesting things about this console, but the interesting thing about this console is that it's almost like kind of someone's just looked at an Xbox, looked at a PlayStation, and just kind of merged the two things together, as kind of only China does with a lot. I mean, I remember there being a Playbox or a Nintendo Station or something like that, which just had, you could play different games. But this console, this Fuse console, it looks like a PlayStation 4. The controller is the Xbox controller. It's the exact same format. It has a little logo in the middle that you turn it on, but that has a little Fuse logo. This is just... It's amazing. I don't know how they're getting away with it, but I guess it's because it's kind of in China and they have different laws. But so this week, there was a press conference. Fuse was launched. Now, what Fuse console is it runs an Android operating system, and it's just designed to be a lot cheaper than both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That now actually do sell in that territory, don't they? Because they've now China has opened up the border. They now actually do
they've
sell
the ban on consoles, haven't they? But
They did.
So it's a sort of an open field, but they've brought their own out because they can, because China can just make stuff cheap. So there's if this is good, then PS4 and Xbox wouldn't have a chance in China if this is reliable and is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it runs a souped up version of the Android operating system, and basically their tagline is, they kind of want to create a marketplace with lower prices, but without sacrificing that AAA content. Not quite sure about that, but there you go. But Fuse have claimed that it has over 200 development partners, including familiar names like Ubisoft, Codemasters, Deep Silver, KJ Inafune's Concept. All of these people are making games or porting their games for. There will be over 76 games available for its launch. So as I was saying, this console is coming out very soon, but there's going to be 76 games available. And there was a picture of a splash screen, and and it had things like Force Awakens, not Force Awakens, the Force Unleashed. It had Grid Autosports. It had Saints Row. So quite oldish games, but all coming to this Fuse platform. So. I mean, if that wasn't enough with this console looking like a Sony product, even the dashboard, even though it's running Android, looks like the Sony XMB. It has a home screen, it has an image of a bag. I'll stick an image in the pod notes so you can have a look at it. All of the icons look very similar, maybe a little bit more cartoony version of the Sony, but it looks absolutely similar. And in another nod to Sony, who Fuse obviously have in their sights, they also plan to launch a VR headset later this year. And they're saying that this VR headset will sell for around $170 US dollars.
Wow.
So I mean, this console, this Fuse, this Tomahawk F1 console is going to be released at about $140. That's about maybe £110 in the UK. And they will be launching an elite version as well. So there will be an elite version that will be shipping for $230, so about maybe £170. Both versions of the Fuse will start shipping on June the 1st.
And is that sort of like global launch, or is it just for China?
They're just saying even though the content is from both Chinese and foreign studios, they're saying that this is just, at the moment, this is just launching in China. Okay.
I bet they're going to turn up at E3 as a surprise, wipe the floor with Microsoft and Sony. I'm presuming, though, seriously, that the sort of power of this machine, judging by the games that are ported to it, is more sort of on the same level as a PS3 and Xbox 360 style power, or maybe more a 360 than a PS3. That sort of level. So it's a cheap console, but it's on cheaper hardware. I don't understand how there'd be a market for it, really. I suppose people that can't afford a PS4 or an Xbox One, but then why wouldn't they just go and get an old 360 or a PS3 that's already got that, back catalogue of hundreds and hundreds of games? I can't understand where their USP is, where the market is for it, because those consoles, I think, are available in China now. So it just confuses me a bit. But they're all excited about it, and that VR thing's quite cool. If it works,
absolutely.
If it can run at 90 frames per second, because otherwise people are going to be throwing up all over the place.
But it's a very, I mean, like I say, I mean, the reports that had come back, and there was a couple of websites that kind of, Kotaku was one of them that was kind of reporting it. They were saying it does just look like a kind of a cheaper version of a PlayStation. But if that's fine, if this thing just kind of runs it. But you're right, it is kind of, I think it's more PS3, Xbox 360 quality games. But the audacity of the dashboard and the controller and it's just absolutely incredible. I can't believe that someone would be able to copy those IPs as well as they have done.
'Cause you can buy sort of really cheap tablets that look, I think, really like iPads, and I think the OS is like almost the same and stuff, or looks really like it, from China for cheap. I'd never touch one with a barge pole because, and I might be being silly there. Maybe they work just the same, and I'm being, we're all being silly. I don't know, because I don't know anyone that's ever bought one, so I can't really talk about it from experience. But just to say, I'm worried about spending my money on something that probably would break within 5 minutes. But they can make stuff like this. I've seen other things that are more interesting, like little handheld consoles that you can pick up for a few quid, and they'll have like 100 games built in. And they're pretty cool. Like one of the stands at that Play Blackpool Expo that I went to a few weeks ago, there was a cool little console, and it was shaped like a PSP, but it was like really, really small, more like a Game & Watch size. Actually, and it had like 100 retro games on it. and it was really cool. Another Chinese thing, but it's kind of like maybe there's a demand in China for it.
Yeah, no, there has to be. I mean, these guys seem to be taking it quite seriously. I mean, they actually bankrolled a KJ Inafune game called Red Ash. So, Inafune's kind of making Mighty Number 9, but these guys have actually kind of bankrolled one of his games as well. So whether that will be coming to other platforms or it will be exclusive to Fuse, I just find it's just incredible. This
financial help is or the catalyst that helped Mighty Number 9 finally get a release date.
Could have been, couldn't it? These could have been backers, that kind of pushed their money into it, so he could get that released, and then the next game he has to bring to Fuse.
Yeah, I'd love it if it was fantastic. I'd love it if it did wipe the floor with everything. Imagine that, and everybody went, "Well, how can they do this for this price?" And all the consoles had to drop in price. Hooray! It'd be really good.
Well, like I say, the reports are that it's a bit of a kind of a plastically looking kind of PlayStation 4, and the controller doesn't have the quality of the Xbox controller. But I'll stick a link. I'll stick a couple of pictures in the pod notes, and it's worthwhile just checking these out because the audacity of Fuse is fantastic.
It does look like the love child of like an Xbox One and a PS4.
It really
does. Also looks like the Vive box that I got my Vive in as well. It looks a bit like that because it's got the sort of this diagonal line across it. It's a thing to behold.
Fantastic, superb. Next piece of news says with you.
It is indeed. And this piece of news is simply about Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, the final expansion that's going to come out for Witcher 3 from CD Projekt Red before they, I suppose, stop work on there and concentrate all their power on Cyberpunk, their new game that's coming out, which sounds and looks pretty cool. So we've got some definite concrete information because the embargo is lifted now. So this is thanks to a NeoGAF user, DMax3901, and he put together a summary of all the reveal information for Blood and Wine, the expansion. So what we're going to get, if you get this expansion, you're going to get a 30-plus hour adventure. That's pretty generous. Over 90 new quests, 40 new points of interest, Dynamics points of interest system. Killing bandits in their main hideout, for instance, will affect the number of enemies in surrounding camps. It's quite interesting. 14,000 lines of dialogue. Hearts of Stone had 6,000, just as a little comparison there. 100 individual pieces of armour, including new Witcher sets. More than 20 new monsters. A new game plus maximum level increased to 100. So that's sort of the main numbers that have been put together. There's more armour and weapons. There's a new mutation system, 12 new abilities. They're going to give it a graphical overhaul as well, so it's going to look even better than we're used to, and it's not shabby when it comes to the looks department. There's going to be a redesigned UI, so the user interface is going to undertake a little bit of a change. There's all sorts of things just to make it easier to manage the menus and things like that. I won't read them all out. At your home base, Geralt's going to get his own vineyard called Corvo Bianco, and you can renovate it with money. So that sounds quite fun. You can add a greenhouse and things and do stuff, and scaffolding, and people appear and work on it when you're building some stuff. That's quite interesting. You can have a guest room where old friends will come to stay. They mentioned Triss and Yennefer, but they didn't reveal the names of anyone else who might visit it. You can display your armour, weapons, paintings and books in your pad, and some paintings can be bought or specially made for your pad, and others can be obtained through quests. 2 hours of new musical content, and a new title screen song, which is a reworked version of the Bruxa song from the CGI trailer. You can go in a tournament, you can enter a tournament under a fake name, you can race horses, you could do that anyway, but you've got also crossbow shooting and grand melee in the tournaments. I think that's probably about it, but that's quite a lot. Wow,
that's that. I mean, they did say that Blood and Wine was going to be quite a large update, but that sounds amazing. That sounds like there is a lot of content there.
Yeah. Wow, it looks like they didn't want to talk about Cyberpunk at all, so they just sort of declared that at the start. But yeah. It's a heck of a lot of content. So if I was still playing Witcher, I'd probably be tempted to jump in. But And this is, I think that we've discussed this before, because I've completed it, I'm happy to leave it. I'm one of those people, it's like Fallout, I'm not bothered about the DLC. I'm one of these people that's content to play the full game, or the original. You could argue that this is the full game isn't until you've done all of it. Luckily, I don't feel like that. So I don't think I'll get it. I'm just happy with the way it ended, and I would just wait for the next Witcher game if there is one. But maybe in the future, if I ever went back to Witcher, it's still on my shelf, I would play it and get this, or buy the season pass in a sale or something. But for those people that have been waiting for this and really keen, to get back to some more witch hunting as Geralt, then it sounds like fantastic value for money.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting because I wondered kind of when I saw this, when I saw the news that this was coming in, like I say, and saw the screenshots and I was wondering if it would kind of tempt you to go back in, as it is kind of almost, it's not so much DLC, is it? It's more of a kind of a Witcher 3.1, if you will.
Yeah, like an expansion pack. Yeah, it's more like that. But no, I'm content with my time there. I loved it.
That's really cool.
And I'm happy to leave it. But I think it's great for the people that have got that thirst for more, that they can dive in and not only enjoy all those extra features, but also just all the loving overhauls they've done with it as well. It just sounds like CD Projekt Red know how to do it right. I think they're good guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that from the game as well, didn't we? Because we had those 16 free little kind of updates while you were playing it. They were constantly improving the game while we were playing it. And it was it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, good times in The Witcher.
Good times indeed. And so
one sec. Did Nicola ever complete it? Because she was playing it for a while, wasn't she?
No, Nicola has kind of put The Witcher on hiatus because she says, and I quote, it's more of a winter game.
It is more of a winter game. A bit like watching Game of Thrones. That should come out in winter.
It really should. So because I said, are you going to go back to Witcher? She goes, I am. I'm going to play other stuff now because Witcher is more of a winter game.
I think she's got a point.
So I was like, okay, I'm not going to...
By next week, I want a list of the seasons for games.
Yeah. I know it's a bit like kind of, a Foo Fighters album always comes out in autumn, and that's kind of always kind of reminds me. But there's kind of like, Gears of War is also an autumn game.
Yeah, Mario Sunshine would be a summer game. Mario Kart.
Indeed.
Do you think Mario Kart would be a summer game as well? I think. Do you think?
Yeah, I think Mario Kart is. Well, actually, no. For me, Mario Kart's a Christmas game because I've always kind of played it a lot at Christmas.
Okay. What about Pikmin? I see that as a spring game.
Yeah, Pikmin's spring game.
Wow,
most
definitely.
I think
maybe we should apply seasons to more games in future, and Nicola can sort of judge. She can tell us if we're right.
I think Nicola would then put like Witcher and also Skyrim. Those two, Witcher, Skyrim, and Fable, are her winter games.
Yeah, and I can see why, but I can't explain it. But I understand.
Because I think they're the ones that are kind of, it gets dark early, she can go down to the movie room, enjoy playing, and really get immersed in those games. And I think that's why she likes kind of those kind of games, which are long, drawn out, kind of depth games. I think that's why she enjoys playing those in the winter.
Yeah, snuggle down and just get involved.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice one.
Blanket because she's old. Anyway, so from good times, from good winter times to bad news. Some sad news happened on Monday. We had an update from Disney Interactive Studios, saying that they are officially discontinuing production of Disney Infinity figures. So this came as quite a shock because it looked like on paper that Disney Infinity was doing incredibly well, and as everybody knows from listening to the pod, I'm a big fan of Disney Infinity. When it came to the kind of games to life, I put my flag in the Disney Infinity camp because I just enjoyed the IPs, I enjoyed the figures, I love those figures. The figures are absolutely fantastic. They're all kind of almost Pixar-y stylized figures, but they have ceased production on Disney Infinity. We still have 2 more packs that are going to be released. They're already kind of done, packaged, and waiting to come out. They're Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is a movie that comes out this week, and also we've got Finding Dory, which is going to be released in June. But then that is it. Disney has now ceased the Disney Infinity production, and not only the Disney Infinity production, but they've also ceased closed their kind of Disney Interactive. So they will no longer be making IP games for their properties, which, you know, is obviously quite surprising because their properties are Marvel, are Star Wars, but they are no longer doing that. They are going to literally be outsourcing all of their IPs to other studios.
Wow.
So this is really interesting. So what they've done is they've obviously the main studio behind Disney Infinity was Avalanche Productions, not Avalanche, the people behind Just Cause, but Avalanche, another studio. So they've closed Avalanche, and then they will just be kind of sending their IPs outside now.
Yeah. So they've decided it's not worthwhile them making games anymore. Which I'm a bit shocked about. You know, they've been around for a long time as Disney Interactive, and before was Buena Vista. And, you know, I've got some good memories of the games that they made. It's like you say, it's a bit of a shock. I mean, when I heard the news about the Toys to Life stuff, I wasn't bothered at all because unlike you, I don't like Toys to Life. I sort of secretly hope this is the first nail in the coffin of all Toys to Life. So that's probably a bit controversial, but sorry about that.
It's a bit harsh,
but the way I feel.
But don't you, I mean, you know, could you be right there? You know, are they, because obviously, you know, when, as we've said time and time again, you know, you walk into game and you've got Disney Infinity, you've got Lego Dimensions, you've got Skylanders, and then also there's obviously Amiibo as well. So these are all those Toys to Life, and judging by kind of what I've been reading, it was very well known that Disney Infinity was kind of very much, they were second. You know, they were behind kind of Lego Dimensions, and they were doing it. Now, whether it's because the games that they made are quite complex, you know, the Disney Infinity game is far more complex than a Skylanders game. You know, a Skylanders game is a platformy game, a 3D platform where you can upgrade, and it's fun. I played the first couple, but Disney Infinity is a creation tool. You know, it's a racing game, it's a fighting game. You know, they even had big studios doing certain parts of the game for them. So whether in making these games they just kind of made them a little bit too big, you know, they kind of just put too much money in the return on investment. But, you know, are you right there? You know, is this the end of this kind of current bubble of Toys to Life?
Yeah, like another plastic toy saturation thing. I know it's kind of completely different in toys and not plastic guitars, but maybe the market was awash with it. But I thought kids just drunk this stuff up. I really don't know. But it's hard to believe that Disney had to do this because they weren't making enough money, you know. Yeah. So it's bizarre because they missed their financial goals for the year. I can't imagine Disney losing money.
No, I can't. When you've got like Star Wars and when you've got like Marvel Civil War and you've got Star Wars Force Awakens, both breaking ginormous box office numbers, you know, should they be worried about the money that they're losing here, or is it because it is a business and they don't want to lose money across anywhere?
I don't know. I mean, reports say that the stock fell by 6%. And this may be, it's not, they haven't got the facts that this is exactly why, but this may be a contributing factor to why they've stopped the Toys to Life and closed the studio down, because it's a loss-making part of their business, the games side. But could it be just, I mean, I really don't know, but just buying the Star Wars license must have cost a fortune. Could it be that, you know, you take a hit because of like acquisitions, and then, you know, obviously it'll take a bit of time to recoup that? I don't know, but whatever the reason is, they've decided to call it a day on making games. But they've done for years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of kind of Toys to Life, you know, does this mean that we would then start seeing Star Wars and Marvel in Lego Dimensions?
Could do, because what they are going to do is they're not going to just like seal up all their licenses and not make it and not allow anyone else to make games, but they're going to shift their sort of orientation, if you like, to a licensing model, because that means they get all the money but none of the hassle. They don't have to make the games. They just say, if you want this license. So I think in that respect, because say if Disney weren't fully behind that studio, but that studio is the only studio that they really want to make their Disney license stuff, apart from like EA with Star Wars, it would just mean that stuff didn't get made, or it got made poorly, or, you know, delays and bad quality. But this way, they hopefully maybe they don't care who they give the license to actually, as long as they get the money, but I suppose they would do, because they've got a vested interest in Disney's image, so they'd want to have quality games to reflect Disney, wouldn't they? So it wouldn't be that they just give it to the highest bidder and not care about what the result is. They would care, because it's about their reputation and their image. So it could be a good thing, because it might mean wider dissemination of their licenses to more publishers, more games of quality of what we want, like getting those Marvel games that have been like not appearing, because there hasn't been any Marvel games. Getting some more. Well, EA's already got Star Wars, but just more of these licenses that have been very quiet, and so it could be for gamers like me and you with a sort of hunger for these titles that haven't been forthcoming. It could be a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've got a Star Wars Force Awakens Lego game that's coming out very soon. We've got that, so they've kind of pushed that over. So, they've already got that kind of Star Wars Lego models already there. So it's a very easy jump to be kind of Toys to Life and put that into Lego Dimensions. As you were saying, we've got Star Wars. We've already got kind of a couple of games that are announced there. One from Visceral, one from Titan, from Respawn. So maybe this is what they're doing. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll start, because we just had Marvel heroes, Lego Marvel Avengers. We had that, and that followed the Disney movies. That followed those Marvel movies. It didn't have Fantastic Four in it. It didn't have X-Men in it. It had Disney properties. So is this what they're going to do now? You're right. Are they going to say, right, okay, we've got an Infinity War movie coming out with all of the Avengers. We've got 2 parts. Let's give that to whoever to make. Let's give that to Ninja Theory, if they're still around. To make this kind of third-person action game. Or so maybe they'll do something like that instead. But I'm very surprised, because from anyone who I've spoken about, Disney Infinity is just, those figures were just gorgeous, and I've seen, I really enjoyed those games. I really enjoyed those games, and I really enjoyed the one thing that they had done over the years was they brought out Disney Infinity 1, 2 and 3 quite close, and I was hoping that now that 3 was actually going to become like a bit of a platform, because they added the ability to be able to bring in old Disney Infinity figures and things like that, and it's just not happening. It's a real shock.
It is a real shock. And they were the guys that made Split Second that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that's why that popped out, because of reading that news. Yeah.
So it's very interesting that, obviously we've still got Skylanders, there's still Lego Dimensions that are there, there's still Amiibo, and it'll be really interesting to see what Nintendo are going to do with their NX, whether they're going to, go into Amiibo land with that, and really kind of go for it, or if they're going to just kind of quietly kind of back away. But I thought these things were just a license to print money, I really did.
So did I, and my heart goes out to there's about 300 jobs that are being lost because of it, so I hope the guys there find something new quickly, and it's a new opportunity for them.
But there you go. So Disney Infinity, no more. Next piece of news with you, Darren. Cheer us up.
Well, this isn't the most cheery news I've ever read out. But
let's have another quiz.
Quiz time. What's it worth?
Yay!
Hey. No, all this is that unfortunately Mass Effect Andromeda has been delayed, which is a real shame. So it was supposed to be coming out at the end of this year, sort of holiday season 2016, and it's been delayed, unfortunately. So now it's scheduled to be available in early 2017, say BioWare. So that's a shame.
Didn't they do that for Mass Effect 3? Didn't they release either Mass Effect 3 or Mass Effect 2 was out in the middle of January or something previously?
That rings a bell. I can't remember.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But that's interesting, because that's another one. I mean, I know we've already said there's a lot of good games that are coming out in 2016, but this was another one that was kind of on my kind of Christmas gaming list.
Yeah. It's. I'm not that bothered really about it. I'm bothered about the game, but I'm not so bothered about the delay, because a massive game like this coming out then, when there's loads of games coming out, this is it's going to be a big old game, isn't it? A big RPG to sink your teeth into, like probably Witcher-esque. In its length, so I'm kind of happy to hopefully get the other things out of the way, and I'm hoping this is coming out when there's maybe less there in the schedules and the release schedules coming out. So maybe it's a good move. We're looking at about March. And it's the same story, really, the reason they've given. They've said, there's a quote, it says, as we've been playing the game at the studio recently, it's showing us that we're taking the game in the right direction. This is from Aaron Flynn, who's general manager of BioWare. And he says, but we know also we need the right amount of time to make sure we deliver everything the game can be and should be. That's our commitment from all of us to you. Because of that, Mass Effect Andromeda will now ship in early 2017. And we've discussed this loads of times when these announcements happen. They're saying basically it's not good enough, so we're going to delay it and polish it. You can't argue with it.
No, absolutely not. You'd rather have something that is delayed by a couple of months, but is the ultimate that they would like it to be, rather than something that is just a there you go, because the pressure's coming from the publisher to get it out. Yeah,
a rubbish game is rubbish forever, and a late game that's good is not remembered as a late game; it's remembered as a good game. So yeah,
But that's it. It is. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more about that at E3. And could this be, if they're pushing it out, maybe a Mass Effect remastered edition?
Yeah, maybe. But
1, 2, and 3 done all tarted up.
Well, that'd be nice. But I wouldn't do it because I've had my adventure as Commander Shepard,
yes.
So I wouldn't go back there and do it again. But you. Did you play them?
I've never finished 3.
Oh.
I never finished 3.
How could you say that, sir? How could you have stopped? What distracted you?
I really don't know. I am just such a gaming butterfly, aren't I?
From game to game to game. I don't know. You're not really, though, because like Arkham Knight, man.
Oh, I love Arkham Knight, and also there was another leak. We talked about before about the Arkham Collection. There was another leak of a really cool cover, which looked like the Arkham Collection may actually be true, and it was a cover like of a card. So that's why they're adding just 2 Arkham games, so Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, because it was like a playing card, and it had like a Batman kind of the 2 different Batmen in a card format. Very nice. So yeah, no, exactly. Arkham plowed loads of time in, and I'm going to be doing the same with Uncharted. I did the same with Uncharted Collection. I played all 3.
I know you did. So you could play. I wouldn't give you the challenge of playing 1 to 3 Mass Effect before Andromeda. I don't actually think you'd have time.
No. Exactly. I mean, I played 1, I played 2, loved 2 a lot, and then I went into 3, and for some reason got distracted.
Oh wow.
I think it's really weird. I don't know why. I think it was maybe that I bought 2 copies, one for Nicola to play as Fem Shep and one for me to play as normal as Man Shep, and I think we just never got round to playing it. I think we just kind of moved on to Gears of War Judgment or something. I don't know. But anyway, next piece of news is with me, and Star Wars Battlefront is getting a sequel. We saw this coming a mile off. Star Wars Battlefront is getting a sequel. EA, in a financial call yesterday, said that Battlefront will receive a sequel next year published by EA. So again, it shouldn't be a surprise because EA Star Wars Battlefront has sold over 14 million copies in just 4 months. So this is kind of across all platforms, and so it's been a huge hit for EA. So they also noted, them being EA, that Uncharted creator Amy Hemming's Star Wars game of Visceral will most likely launch in 2018. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a 2017 Star Wars Battlefront. You can bet your bottom dollar that this is going to start tying into the new films that are coming out. I still think that the last piece of DLC for Star Wars Battlefront, the current one, is going to be Rogue One, but this new game, you will then start seeing this new game tie into the new films, because obviously 2017, where this is due to come out, is the same time that Episode 8 is due to come out as well. So there will be Finn, there will be all of those characters, there will be Rey, there'll be Poe Dameron, and we'll all be in there, and that kind of does kind of fill me with some excitement. So we're going to get another one. I was kind of, as much as I say you shouldn't be surprised at this, I was surprised because I thought it would be a platform that they would continue to build on, but we're definitely going to get a sequel. So that's it. So as I was saying earlier, when we were talking about kind of Disney IP, we do have Amy Hennig's Visceral game, which is going to be 2018, and we also have Respawn's third-person Star Wars title as well. So what with that, we now have 3 confirmed Star Wars titles in the next couple of years.
Excellent. Do you think, Like, so for instance, usually in a game that's say an open world game with water, you go in the water and you die in the first one, and then on the second one they've sorted that out so you can swim. Now, do you think it's not really a direct comparison, but no campaign in the first one? Do you think there'll be a campaign in Battlefront 2?
I think the biggest, everybody loved, anyone who's played Battlefront has really enjoyed it. I haven't heard anyone kind of not enjoying Battlefront when I've been talking to them. But I think the biggest gripe is a lot of people wanted a campaign. I think EA would be crazy. If they're looking at something that sold 14 million copies, they know how many people are logging on. If they're seeing this spike and then they're seeing it go off, they have to look at it. Every review I read, every piece of content was always kind of, Star Wars Battlefront is great, but it should have had a campaign. So there is this time and time and time again. So I would think EA would be crazy if they didn't include a campaign.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'll tell you something just while we're talking about Battlefront. I said last week that I've been playing a bit of my GameCube, and I put Rogue Leader on, and I was playing it, okay. Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader on the GameCube. Very old now, and I just did the first bit with the Death Star and the trench run. I tell you what, and I haven't played it for so long, and I was in a right old Star Wars mood, and I was whooping in sheer joy at playing it, and I tell you, man, it's better than the flipping flying around in Star Wars Battlefront. Really? It's a better game, yeah. The flying bit, they nailed it, man. Flying that X-wing, it's just a bit too simple, I think, in Battlefront. Rogue Leader's not a simulator; it's an arcade game. No. But I was just like, the fact that you can hold a button and barrel roll is just awesome. Yeah. And I was just like, this is awesome, man. I was like, this is fantastic. I mean, I do like the Fighter Squadron bits in the Battlefront game, but going back and playing it. It really, because I'd kind of recently played both then, and it really hammered it home that it was like, this is the superior flying experience for Star Wars. So I hope that kind of control, somebody in the team knows this, and they say, I preferred the control in Rogue Leader. Let's implement that as well, because if you've got a campaign in there and better dogfight control, oh man, it would be sort of perfect. It's not far off as it is, and that's where I was making the comparison about, everybody wanted to be able to swim, and then in the second one you can, and it's like, so hopefully, I'm not sure if my personal feelings about the flying controls are as big an issue as the campaign. I don't know if that's something that a lot of people are shouting for, because it works quite well. But yeah, it'd be good to. I mean, I know they've gone for the simplicity to open it up to more people, but just that a slight added layer of complexity, just to make it more fun. Not to make it more complex, not complexity for complexity's sake, just to make it more real and let you have a better, more realistic experience of flying it, even in an arcadey way, would be awesome. But yeah, campaign, me and my story mode.
Yes.
It really would be amazing if they could put that in.
Absolutely, with those graphics, because Battlefront looks amazing, with those graphics, put a campaign in, it would be absolutely superb. I was thinking there when you were saying about flying a kind of an X-wing, how amazing would a Battlefront-y looking game in VR be? Where you're doing, even if it was just the Death Star runs, and including like Death Star 1, Death Star 2, and Starkiller all in VR. Because like what you were saying with Elite Dangerous, where you're looking around, do you imagine that, but in an X-wing and a Death Star looming at you in VR?
Oh man, it would be amazing. I wonder if you could sort of almost do it was it called X-Wing? Remember the PC games?
Oh yeah, they did, yeah. Oh, they were good games. They were
cockpit based, weren't they?
They were indeed. I was playing those games and also reading X-Wing Fighter Squadron books as well. I read so many X-Wing, so many Star Wars books when I was younger.
Oh wow! Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Now just read comic books.
They've got to do that. A cockpit-based game. Wow, that would be good.
That would be fantastic. So yeah, so we're getting a Star Wars Battlefront in time for Episode 8. Hopefully, we'll get some more information on Episode 8 soon. But so you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to include all that good stuff from those new movies. Speaking about good stuff, it's that time that we head over to the VR news desk for the latest in VR. VR desk.
Yes, well, here we are at the VR desk. Very exciting. And yeah, talking about Star Wars and the Frostbite engine, our first piece of news. has a lot in common with that because we're talking about Star Wars Battlefront VR. Yeah, so it's been confirmed that the PSVR exclusive Star Wars Battlefront is going to be powered by the Frostbite engine. So that's pretty cool, and it's been confirmed for 2016 as well. Now, we talked about it probably being Frostbite ran, but that was really just conjecture. But it's actually confirmed now, so that's really cool. So we are going to get a VR Battlefront game on PSVR, running on PS4 with the Frostbite engine, and it's interesting. That's why I don't know if you heard it, but it was almost as if like the cogs were going round then when you were talking about a cockpit VR game. I was kind of like, all of a sudden I was like, isn't that the obvious fit? Wouldn't that be fantastic to be sat in an X-Wing or an A-Wing in VR because it fits it so well?
That really would, honestly.
And they've already got the in-cockpit view.
Yes.
So I don't think it would be that hard to do, but my goodness me, it'd be awesome. If that came out, and it'll be an exclusive, as it were, is an exclusive, it kind of it makes me feel that it doesn't matter that I've got Vive. I'd have to get it. I'd have to get PSVR.
You're halfway there with a PSVR because you got a PlayStation, so you can sneak it in.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be awesome, man? And
that would be absolutely amazing. I was watching Force Awakens. I went to Manchester for work yesterday. I was watching Force Awakens on the way home, and this time of watching Force Awakens, which is about 8th, 9th time, I was really drawn into the kind of fighter battle at the end, and I was really loving it. And also the bit where Poe kind of takes out lots of those spaceships and on ground troops. I got really into that for some reason while I was watching it. It's strange because sometimes you do and I was just thinking just that. I wish that Battlefront just gave me the option of playing as Poe and doing these kind of missions.
Wow, it's gonna come. And they can do it, but it'll be slowly because they can milk the money that way, and it's a business at the end of the day. But I've got what's the quote? So we've got a quote from Andrew P. Wilson, who's the Chief Executive Officer and Director at EA, and he said that our unparalleled Frostbite engine, I think it's fair to say actually, it is amazing, will power more of our games this year, including an all-new Star Wars Battlefront experience for PlayStation VR. So it's going to be an all-new experience.
See, that's the thing that worries me, that word experience, because I don't want it to be an experience. I want it to be a game.
I hope it. I hope it. See, you could totally read it that way. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, and that scares me now. You've made me think of that. I was thinking that he was saying, I was deciding to read it that it just meant not what we've had already, but a game, but a new experience. And I thought, even though you've got that cockpit option, a forced cockpit mode would be kind of a new experience. Well, wouldn't it? You've got me on one there. I'm convinced it's going to be a cockpit X-wing flying thing.
Absolutely. I think they're putting the word experience in because they want it to sound different. In VR, things are different. You're not playing a game; you're experiencing a game. As you were talking about Elite VR. You experience Elite VR. Don't
at the moment with VR, it's like I said. I could just sit in the cockpit and I'm happy because of the experience overshadows everything, and it's like a bonus if the game's good. So yeah, that's absolutely right. But wow, yeah, I mean, it just would be amazing. Don't know what they're going to do. I also wouldn't mind a VR lightsaber game where where you're holding the lightsaber in front of you with the move controller becomes a lightsaber, for instance.
That would be really good, actually. That would be. I mean, if they release this, if this is a launch title for PlayStation VR, I'm going to be so happy. That would be it. I will be like you. I'll be. I don't even have a child, but I'll be forgetting my child, even if I didn't have one.
I didn't really forget him.
No, I know. I'm only kidding. I'm only ribbing you. But no, absolutely. I just absolutely. If there is a Star Wars Battlefront experience where you're in the cockpit, flying a TIE fighter, flying an A-wing, B-wing, Y-wing, that would just be, that's me exploding with excitement there.
It would be amazing, man, because like in Elite, it's just the fact that when you look down at your legs, you can see all the floor of the cockpit, and you look to the sides, you can see all the intricate details of the sides, and even the chair at the back, and it would be just like that. It's absolutely awesome. Do you know what you get with your PSVR? Is it just a demo disc?
They haven't said yet, so they showed the box, the content of the box with all the different things that you get, the different wires, different connections, that extra expansion box, but they haven't said. I think there is that kind of, there's a whole load kind of PlayStation World that they've been showing at places, which has a bit of that gangster one, the London heist and the one where you're under the sea. But I don't know if all of those will be coupled with PlayStation VR.
I suppose we'll see. But that's cool.
I'm sure we're going to find out on the 14th of June at E3.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's going to be good, isn't it? It's going to be really good.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so moving on, there is demand for HoloLens, despite its sort of partial FOV, as the dev kit deployment has reached its second wave. So Microsoft, in a Twitter posting, said that they've got Wave 2 invitations for #HoloLens Development Edition has started, and they told the guys on the waiting list to check their status. So that's quite interesting. Some little facts about it. Obviously, there's a demand because they've got to Wave 2, so that's cool. It was $3,000 to buy the development kit.
Mm-hmm.
So any developer that signed up and bought one can check the list if they've not had one already and see how whether they're lucky enough to be getting one. What I didn't know is they're only selling them in the US and Canada at the moment.
Oh, right.
They're not selling them worldwide. You can only get them in US and Canada. I didn't realise that. So anyone outside of those territories can't get a HoloLens yet.
Do you know what? Microsoft are really strange that they do this. Microsoft, more than kind of any company, do a lot of kind of like America only at the moment. They a lot of apps, some apps, there was a couple of new iOS apps that were coming out from Microsoft, and they kind of announce it, they tweet it, you then check your thing and it's like not available in your territory. And and then this as well, it's really interesting that they do still kind of cut the world up into territories where people like Apple and Sony, less so now, are doing a lot less of that, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. It's they're sort of making the world smaller and more connected, and it seems that they're still splitting it up. So yeah, it's interesting. But the good news is, I suppose, for me, it's like I wouldn't get a HoloLens in the state it's in now. I'm not a dev either, but some guys would fake being a dev just to get hold of kit like this. But what I really like is that I really love the idea of this sort of mixed reality, and I'm keen for it to have a good take-up, and so that there's more money to make the technology and refine it, make the technology better and refine it and get that FOV bigger and what have you. But interestingly enough, I don't know what's going to happen with HoloLens in wake of Magic Leap that we talked about last week, as that's similar, but that doesn't need the big glass frame in front of your face because that's going to project onto your retinas. So depending on when they actually come out and are a little less secretive of what they've actually got there, it might be an interesting two-horse race there of different mixed reality technologies to watch. So that's but that's good that there's competition because that might keep the price down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a really interesting article about a kind of mixed reality. It was similar to HoloLens, similar to HoloLens, similar to Google Glass, and it was this application that allowed you, if you were blind or kind of partially sighted, you could just look at a paper. So you could grab the daily paper and you could look at it, and it would do kind of text recognition and then play it back to you in speech.
What an amazing use for it.
I just thought that is just fantastic.
It could do it like a guide dog as well as you were walking down the street and warn you about roads and stuff and cars and it's safe to walk now and things like that, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just you hold any piece of text in front of you, like a book or whatever, and then it will just dictate it back to you.
Wow, and there'd be uses for that if you weren't blind. Like if you went to another country, if your mixed reality lens was small enough, if you couldn't speak the language, like I went to Japan, and I could just pop that on and it would read it out to me, the menu in the shop or the shop names and things like that.
Yeah, wow! I imagine that you go down to the tube station, like in Tokyo, and then you'll be able to just read everything because it then just overlays it.
Yeah, and then you speak, and it's sort of. It then as a speaker and it says it in Japanese or whatever wherever you are. Wow.
Well, there's already an app for that. There's already an app where you can actually kind of say what you want in a foreign country and then just kind of play the app to people,
Okay.
Obviously,
cool.
that's a little bit rude because you haven't taken the time maybe even to just get the fundamentals of the language. But yeah, absolutely.
Just thrusting a phone in somebody's face.
Yeah, but I just thought that was such a great application of this kind of mixed reality technology.
Yeah, that is brilliant. That's a wonder. That it's fantastic. Oh man, I love stuff like that. That's brilliant. Oh wow, you got me this week.
Yes, I've blown your mind.
Wow, that's awesome. That really is. Wow. I love it when you've not even thought of something and you've not even dreamed of an application of a technology, and then you come along and say something like that, and you're like, yeah, totally. Wow.
Exactly. It's just like, yeah, why didn't we think of that before? We're all thinking about games and how we can do it for games, but there is that natural application of it. So now that you're blown away, have you got what's the next piece of VR news?
Yeah. Sorry, man. I just taken aback there, just thinking about the the applications. The next thing is this is only a quick thing, really, but Nvidia announced in the last week or so a new in-game camera system called Ansel, which is a technology that's going to aid the progression of video game photography. So it's got a few features, but the one that I'm going to mention, because we're in the VR desk, is that it's going to allow you to take full 360-degree image capture. So take screenshots in games in 360.
Wow.
So when you take your picture in Uncharted 4 and send it to me, I can explore the whole 360 scene. Or I can explore the scene in full 360 vision. I can look all around you instead of it just being 2D flat.
Superb.
It's cool, isn't it?
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I know you like your screenshots. You'd love that, wouldn't you?
I really would, yeah. If I could look all the way... Oh, that's just so... And I must admit, this is one of the things that I'm kind of most looking forward to about VR, is just that being the ability to be able to just look around, while you're playing. If you're playing Uncharted and the it's all really lush, and then you can just look around, look up, look down, and just be immersed by these vistas. But that's just absolutely superb.
And I think in time, there's 360 cameras out now. I'm not sure of the price, but they'll come down. They'll probably be on our phones. You'll press a button on your phone and it'll pop up, because I suppose it's going to see all round, so it might have to pop up out of your phone. And it'll take you say you're on holiday in New York and you're like, oh, Daz, I'd love this. And you'll just do a screenshot, a 360 picture with your phone, say. You send it to me and I'll be able to explore that in 360, like instantly, or even put it VR on and actually walk around in front of the Flatiron building or wherever you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it'd even have you in the picture, so I could walk round you.
Yeah,
even though you're just a picture, but it'd feel like you were there. It's amazing.
That'd be so cool. That'd be absolutely superb. Like I say, you've already got Pano. You've already got Pano on the iPhone, so it's just kind of adding double Pano to get a 360, just even if you had to just stand there and just kind of turn around, because when you're taking a Pano shot on the iPhone, it does actually tell you if you're going too fast, too slow, whether you're in line. So you imagine just being able to do that, but just keep turning around.
Oh yes, you don't really need you can just spin round, because I had an app that ages ago, that Photosynth I think it was called, and of course.
That would be so cool. That'd be really cool to then, when people come around to see your holiday clips, you're like, right, stick this VR headset on, you're going to see something amazing.
Yeah, and you'd be like the guy taking him. What's the name of the guy in a museum? The curator, that's it, the curator, taking the person around your holiday. And they're walking on the beach where you walked in VR, and you're saying, at this point we saw this, on your left.
Absolutely, you're up on a mountain, looking at the sunset, look at this, rather than just a flat old... Because one of my kind of point-and-click cameras has 3D mode, and I went to Goodwood Festival of Speed a couple of years ago, and I took loads of 3D shots, and they actually came out quite well on the TV. Like, obviously, you put on your glasses. There was one where they had a Honda Civic it was actually mounted on a rock, and it was kind of coming out at you, so I took a picture side on and forward in 3D, and they actually came out quite well on the when you look at them through a 3D TV.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really good.
That was really good. That was really cool.
Yeah, so there you go. 360 screenshots in games coming to us, courtesy of Nvidia. Sounds interesting and something that can be built upon. And finally, for the VR desk, we've got The Void. Now, this company called The Void are looking to provide not just virtual, but hyper reality experiences. Could this be the new arcade? Could it be a VR-cade? Now, what this is they are... I don't know where to start with this. What they're doing, right, is sort of... It's... Look at me trying to articulate this. Right, so imagine in VR at the moment, you're either sitting down with your Oculus or you're going around in a sort of 5 meter cube with HTC Vive. What these guys have done is they've created like sort of a 4D VR where you put on a headset. It's wireless as well. Okay, and you put on a vest. Inside the vest, there is the computer that's going to run the VR, and the headset links to the vest. The vest has also got haptic feedback all over it. Okay, and they're looking at creating these massive stages where you will play, sort of areas to play in VR, and the stages are based on different experiences where you can actually feel the environments that are placed over these structures. So there would be hills and things within one of these stages, or there'd be, say, if there was a door in front of you with a keypad on it, you'd reach out and you'd touch the keypad because it would actually be there. And if you went through somewhere that was really hot with, say, lava underneath you, they've got like heaters underneath you convincing you that it's hot in the room. Or if you walk past like sort of a spider's web cave, they've got bits of web or like fishing line that you will believe is web, because you'll see the web in VR and you'll actually feel it on your arms. And it's basically a real holodeck that they've created, and they're looking at this as like kind of a theme park thing. Yes. Or an arcade experience where you would go and you'd, instead of spending like $2,000 or whatever it is on a whole VR setup, you'd go here and you would be untethered to enjoy a VR experience that's more than just a VR experience. They're pitching it that you actually can feel what's happening to you in this world, and the worlds are limitless. You know, there's a fantasy one. They've got a video on the website that sort of explains it in pictures, so infinitely better than I can in words. But it's kind of like, imagine laser tag. They've got a guy and he puts the helmet on, and it shows him in real life. And he's in like on one of these stages where they've got all these like concrete structures and stuff, and then all of a sudden the VR gets overlaid it, and you see what he can see, and he's in like, looks like a marine out of Doom or Aliens or something. He's got a massive laser gun that he's actually got a gun in his hand, but the VR overlays makes it look like really cool, and it also overlays the environment around him that it looks like he's in a spaceship or something, and he can feel this spaceship. When there's corners and things, he can, at the moment when there's VR, you see the little kids falling over because they think there's a table there and it isn't. Well, there would be a table there, or there would be sort of a vent shaft and things like that. They're actually there, so you can feel it. And they're looking at this as like some kind of amusement park where you'd go in either on your own or with a group of friends, and you would live out a fantasy of like slaying a dragon in a fantasy world, but it's got, as well as being untethered and seamless VR, like, there's an article written by Polygon of a guy that had a go of it, and he said it's like unbelievable. Like, you think you're there, but you can feel that you're there, so you're like proper tricked, and there's no wire to trip over. He said it's like seamless, really. They're looking to open like these, well, as many as they can over time, but at the moment I think the first one's going to open in Salt Lake City. I think that's in Utah, and yeah, it just looks. It looks truly amazing. They've got this proprietary VR kit called Rapture Gear, and that's the helmet, the headset that links to the vest. It just looks amazing. They're all about the immersion. So if you see a big like ball of fire in front of you, or a fire pit, they've got heaters that you can't see, but you'll believe that the fire is there because you're getting the warmth from the fire. And they've got like fans blowing wind when you're on a mountain and stuff like that. And the sort of icing on the cake is they've figured out the guy that's one of the high up guys in it, like the creative head creative guy. He was a magician for years, apparently. So they're using all these sort of magician tricks to fool you into making you think that you're there. And wow. He said, for instance, that they've worked out that they can make you think you're walking in a straight line in VR because it's that convincing, when actually you're not. You're walking in a curve. So they could have you walking forever in like this 30-foot by 30-foot space. You'd think you were walking in a straight line, and because of that, they could have like unparalleled adventures with infinite space.
Wow.
And
this
sounds
is just
amazing.
Fantastic, yeah.
It's hard to describe in words, especially as I've not had a go. But it sounds like the future. They're doing a Ghostbusters.
Yes, this is what I was waiting for you to get to. Yeah, this is what I was waiting for.
You're always in New York, so it's at the Two Swords Waxworks, and they're doing some Ghostbusters experience, and it's partnered with these guys from the Void because they've got this proprietary kit that's just. It's from what I'm reading, it's like the best you can get. You know, it looks awesome, man.
Yes. So opening July the 1st in New York, Madame Tussauds in New York, which is just off of Times Square. They're going to be opening this. It's called Ghostbusters Dimensions.
Yeah. The Ghostbusters experience.
Moly.
And as I say, no wires, no tethering, and haptic feedback from this vest as well. So your ghost goes through you, you're going to feel it.
Oh my goodness, they just said they haven't got into too much detail, but somehow I think slime will probably be involved.
Yeah, it probably would, wouldn't it? Yeah. And yeah, there's an article on Polygon that goes into it in much greater detail than I can on here, and it just describes it so well. He said that he put on the headset, and he was in front of a wall in real life, and when he put the headset on, the wall was still there, and it was rendered so well that it looked the same. Okay, so that he could see and feel the bumps on this wall when he was in VR with his hand, and he could see his hand, but obviously it wasn't his hand, but it was rendered in VR, near perfect 1-to-1 representation of the wall and his hand. Yeah.
Wow.
So even though because he's got the headset on, he's actually blind, but he could see the wall that was in real life, and he could see his hand, and then. He said that the wall in front of him dissolved and turned into a dimly lit Mayan temple. And he said that was amazing. And he said the magician talked to him about this and said, this is about making you think it's real by representing what you saw in the world before you went into VR, in VR. So you stood there in the same room, but obviously you're not, but it looks so real. So you were stood there, you put the helmet on, everything looks the same. And then it changes into like a temple in this example, but it could be anything. It sort of tricks you even more into that presence that you're actually there.
Wow, and that just sounds so amazing. That is just what with VR being used on roller coasters now in these kind of hyper reality experience things. This is amazing.
Yeah, so like arcades sort of went out of favour because you could get that experience at home, and that's why I said could this be the new VR arcade? Because this is something that unless you were very wealthy indeed, you couldn't replicate at home. And you could go here. I mean, we're talking like Total Recall almost. Except it's not a memory implant, but you could go and live out anything in your imagination in these places. And I think what they're getting at, because it's quite new, this thing, and quite secretive. I think they're looking at building specific ones for specific experiences all over the place in America, right. First of all. And so, if you fancied dragons, fancying dragons, you'd go to one of them. And if you fancied sort of like more of a Doom-esque or Aliens experience, you'd go to another. It sounds amazing. Or maybe there's going to be several in a big park. I'm not sure, and you'd go around them all. I don't know.
Imagine having an Aliens experience, as in Ridley Scott's Aliens.
Yeah.
That hyper tense, your indicators going off, he's close, and then just suddenly appear. You would just freak. I would just. Imagine, right? In a couple of years' time, we've got Avatar is coming out. We've got Avatar 2 and 3 is coming out. Imagine just sticking that on, and you're in Navi in Naboo or whatever that planet was called. Imagine if you did that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be so amazing, and it's getting there. I mean, this is very ambitious, but it's like, it's theme park ambitious, so you'd pay to go, but it sounds like something that I'd really love to try. He said that this guy on Polygon, he says, he walked through a portal to get into the Mayan temple, and as he walked through the plane of that portal, the 22 different haptic modules in the vest that he was wearing began to shake. First at the front of his body, so it's like he's passing through an invisible wall. So he got like the feedback, the shook on the front, and as he walked through further, eventually it shook on his back, as if he was physically pushing through an invisible barrier. Then, walking forward, he goes into a temple and emerges on a ledge beside a grotto. And he says that cool, wet air was actually blown across his face and arms because of strategically placed fans and water misters that obviously you can't see, but they are perfectly in tandem with the experience he's having.
Wow, that's just incredible. I mean, it's quite interesting because that kind of 4D experience that you're explaining there, they've actually started doing that in cinemas now as well. So you can go along to a movie. It's not VR, it's just 3D. But you go along to a movie, and as you're on the top of a mountain, there's some cool air will come. When the Hulk is fighting, your chair will gently rattle or move around. Or there will be, as it's raining, there may be just a bit of mist that comes into the room, and just adding that extra flavour. Again, they're kind of some cinemas that are opening up in the US, and they just sound absolutely amazing. Kevin Smith, I was listening to a Kevin Smith podcast last week when he was doing a Civil War spoiler cast, and he went to one of those to watch Civil War, and he just said it just absolutely blew his mind. It just absolutely blew his mind.
Wow, that sounds great. And it's quite simple, isn't it, to maybe not to implement, but it's a simple enough idea, but what an effect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just an absolute Mass Effect.
Boom.
Boom! Right. Cool. That was just absolutely amazing. Again, you have blown my mind. And on that mind-blowing note, that's about it for this episode. A big thank you for listening. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at LostSparkPod. You can also find us on YouTube and on the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community. Darren, where can everyone find you online?
Yeah, you can find me as Wythermator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Dazagamer on YouTube, and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and I'm Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. So that's about it. I think we should go and maybe fire up Uncharted now.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much, guys. Talk to you next week.
Cheers. Bye.